The Bills report to St. John Fisher today to begin training camp tomorrow. Coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fecal Car & Joyce, your border attorneys by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-MILLION. Around the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that Buccaneers tackle Vita Vea has requested a trade. The Colts, they placed wide receiver Alec Pierce following ankle surgery on the active PUP list. The Athletics' Matt Schneiderman considers it unlikely Micah Parsons dealing with the knee injury returns before Week 4. And the Athletic also reports that the domestic violence investigation into Josh Jacobs is, quote, still open. In baseball, the Blue Jays, they beat the Nationals 3-2. The Yankees beat the White Sox 9-5. The Red Sox bested the A's 4-2. And the Mets beat the Braves 14-3. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Jeremy White and Joe DiBiase.
You know, first of all, your show has been great this morning because I listened to
training camp. Today's the start of training camp.
It is.
It's not training camp eve, even though they're not on the field today. But moving in day. St. John Fisher, the Bills will be there today, and they will get into their dorms, and they won't do anything on the field, but we've got a lot to get to on today's show. There's a trade rumor out there. There's Madden ratings. There's a lot to get to. Oh, Nate did not see the Odyssey last night.
I didn't.
I was ready for a big reveal
Well,
on that. Not that I need another person in my life to tell me. It's great. Without spoiling any details for me.
Well, you guys kind of spoiled it for me, to be honest, because I was going to see it in regular IMAX.
Uh-huh.
And then I decided not to because I didn't want to watch I didn't want to watch the PG version
regular
while you guys got to watch the cool one. So
well, does that mean you're going to go see it in the big one?
Yeah, at some point. I tried to get some tickets, but it was only front row available, and
don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to subject myself. I'm not going to.
Have you ever watched a movie front row? I can't say I've ever done it. I just assume it's terrible and never to even try it. But the seats are there.
In my life to try
I did.
You've done it?
Avengers Endgame, and it was a nightmare because I thought the seats were assigned on tickets, and they were not. So walked in, I'm watching, staring literally straight up. Like, not even kidding.
Okay.
And the screen, everyone's mouth is huge. Like, it's all distorted because you're so close.
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare. Never do it. Never do it.
Never to do it again.
Why do they have those seats there?
Money.
Yeah.
Why do they have standing room only?
Always the right answer. Money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Money.
Yeah.
We're talking about Vita Vea today. Why is it going to be money?
Money.
Just
Because
answer money.
Yeah, I also went and did it one time, but I was a young child. I thought it would be cool. I think that's probably your biggest draw is having little kids be like, "Oh, I'm going to sit front row. It's going to be cool."
Imagine 14-year-old 6'9" Owen sitting in the front row of a movie theater and everyone going, "This kid's such a."
Yeah.
I mean, that's only going to be true of a couple rows, right?
I mean, that's pre-recliners in movie theaters, too, so
Yeah,
that's
right.
straight up sitting.
Yeah,
that's even worse.
you're at a 90 degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
How did people do movie theaters before the recliners, sitting through a 3-hour movie?
I still go to one sometimes without them. And
Yeah?
it's kind of a nice change of pace. I'm not going to lie to you.
To be less comfortable is a nice change of pace.
It's a real nice change of pace being less comfortable.
It's not that the seats are less comfortable. They're really, like, cushioned up. They're nice. But it's nice not to be, like, laying down.
But
I
it's
would
like
say.
To be burdened by comfort.
Yeah.
You can choose not to do the recliner part of the recliner.
I guess.
True.
But then
Right.
it's like, yeah, I don't know.
You feel like you're on your own. Everybody else is reclining, and you're not. You feel there's pressure to recline.
yeah, if you're sitting straight up, are you not blocking the view of someone who's reclining behind you?
You know what I like to do in the car? I like to not put the heaters on in the wintertime in the car seats just because
Change of pace.
I feel burdened by how much more comfortable the warmth in my bum feels.
Did you ever throw the AC on in January? It's a nice change-
You know,
it's a nice change of pace.
just to change the monotony, you know?
Okay, so you're saying they're still comfortable, but they're like stadium seats, right?
Like fold down, like not fold down, but
Like what you're gonna get at the Bill Stadium.
They're not that uncomfortable, I would say.
They're your high school auditorium seats.
But they're bigger. They go all the way up to the back of your head, like all of that.
Oh,
Like
so
they're bigger. They're not just auditorium seating.
You got updated seats that aren't quite recliners, but they're recliner level comfortable.
Yes.
Okay, well
are
that's
you
a
living in
different
the
thing than we're
North Towns?
talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Southtowns, you know, we had the McKinley Mall. I think it was the Dipson, and that place
Still open?
smelled like urine. No, it is not open. I at least the Dipson's not open, but I assume it was largely because
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that is. There's no way. Nothing's open at the McKinley Mall.
No. I'm talking about the old Regal in Niagara Falls, so right over the
Okay.
North Bridge.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a new name now. I
Big
forget what it
money.
is, but they lost all their money.
What's it been, like 5 years since the recliner became standard in movie theaters everywhere?
I'd say 10.
Well, I
10
think
even?
It's been long. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
10 to 15 years. It's been like that.
It's been a while.
When they first were being introduced, I'm like, wow, this is. Can you believe that? We can't never go to a different movie theater again.
No.
And
You know
everyone
what's
else
funny
got 'em.
is I told you guys yesterday the last time I saw a movie, I'm in a movie theater.
Right.
I'm pretty sure was
Before the
Deathly
recliner
Hallows
revolution.
Part 2.
This is before the
So
recliner
I
revolution,
missed a
I
lot
think.
of this.
It was
I missed a lot
2011.
of this. Really, yeah, like right after high school.
I mean,
for me.
you'd be like walking into the future. Like he's missed all advancements in movie theaters.
Well, I think 3D really ruined it for me. Like it was like, all right, this is movies have advanced too far.
3D.
We need to go back. And then yeah, once people started getting the goggles, I was kind of done with movies. I thought.
Done with movies.
I don't all movies.
The 3D glasses got them.
I don't think I've done anything with 3D glasses in more than a decade.
I did when I was a kid. I have no
Yeah.
interest now. You
Yeah.
know?
I used to try to steal them after you because
Yeah, of
then
course.
you could wear them to school and be like, I got the 3D glass. I'm a 3D glasses guy.
I find what I think a lot of people are doing. This might be true. Like tomorrow, me, Joe, and Owen are going to Rochester to see the Odyssey in the 70mm theater. And
Do we know if it's recliners?
I'm pretty sure. I want to bet it.
I would
I'm
think
not
that
sure.
if you've got one of the 40 of these setups,
Yeah,
that
you've
you're
got
going to
it.
have
You've
a
got
pretty
it.
good setup. in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I would hope.
I'm gonna
Or
be
it's
really
trash, I don't know.
upset if it isn't.
Yeah.
I do like that I don't know if this place is serving alcohol, but I do like that.
That's
a
there's
thing
some
now.
theaters. Yeah, I'm not sure if this one is, but I wonder if it's just going to be Bills fans filling it up because we're going to Rochester on the first day for the first open practice for training camp, but we're not going to training camp.
No.
We're not going to practice. We're going to see
not a game.
movie.
Not a game.
Yeah, but how many Bills fans are going to come into the movie theater and like are making a day of it? Like, hey, we're going to go to practice in the morning. Joe Brady's got an 8:30 practice. It'll be done by 10, and we'll pop over and we'll go see the Odyssey on the big screen, like the big screen.
The big one.
Yeah, the one that Christopher Nolan intended.
With no previews.
Right.
And we'll get some no previews.
No previews.
On the 70mm, no previews. We're sitting right down and it's showtime.
Wait, so they just put it on.
Go time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's
That's
one
kinda
like Dune
stupid.
3 commercial in front of it.
That's
and that's
it.
Why is
so
that? Why
so
is that
there
stupid?
is previews.
One preview.
There's one.
Okay.
Just
one
Just
minute
Okay,
preview.
well you can't say there's no previews and then be like, well, we do have one.
Fair.
I mean, it's attached to the film though. Like
I
it's not.
get it,
It's not a normal
but-
preview.
There's
It
no
is a
previews,
preview.
then
Yeah.
it's a preview.
I'm curious if we get a like hey chant tomorrow
That's what I was
in the theater.
yeah.
I bet we will.
I hope not.
It's all. It's gonna
We
be.
can-
All,
it's
gonna
it
be
might
a
be.
lot
It
of
might
Bills
be all
people.
Bills fans.
We could just watch the movie.
I'm kind of with
Well,
Nate
not
on
maybe
this.
not
Could
during the
just-
movie.
Not during it, of
I know. There, in place of
mean, imagine
previews
the
you guys
middle.
talking about,
We all
in
just-
place of previews.
While they're
Okay.
on the boats, just start doing the chant.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
middle of the movie, the chant starts
That would be
happening.
bad. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into all the training camp stuff that will present itself throughout camp. We're gonna get Keon Coleman highlights, and we're gonna get who's winning the left guard battle. That all starts tomorrow on the field. Pads will go on eventually. Pads probably actually will go on not at Fisher, right? Like they'll probably go on after the blue and red scrimmage because usually that's about a week, and they're only at camp for a week. And then it's blue and red, and they're in Orchard Park. So that might actually not happen at St. John Fisher. So all of that starts tomorrow. I want to start today, though, with the one last big trade idea of the offseason. And whether there is any chops to this at all as an idea. But if you missed last night, Vita Vea has demanded a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Before we get into it on him, is football just totally different than all the other sports in this way? Doesn't it feel like in hockey, when a player demands for a trade, they always get traded? Like there's this attitude taken by that GM. This is not just a Kevin Adams commentary. I think this is a lot of other teams in the league. Well, that guy doesn't want to be here. I don't want anybody on my team that doesn't want to be here. Get him out. We will move him now before it gets too uncomfortable. That happens in hockey so easily, where a guy asks out, and they often will get out. In football, this is how you take it. This is how I am at this point. Scarred by so many of these that I see star player wants a trade. Okay, so it's a contract negotiation, right? How often does a guy actually get dealt when they get asked for a trade in the NFL? Is it 10% of the time? They don't get moved almost ever, or sometimes it takes a long time. Like Myles Garrett demanded a trade. He did get traded. It just took a year.
But he also pulled back on it. So I don't know if we could use Myles Garrett exactly because he just was like, actually, no, I'll stay.
Right.
Because you guys are going to give me the bag. And then 1 year later, he got traded.
Right.
But no, I mean, the NFL...
Why is it different? I wonder, maybe there is no good answer to it.
I think...
Because the agents know it's just a better negotiation tactic to get more money out of their team. Is that the only reason why Vita Vea wants out? Is there something I'm missing? Does he want to go to a Super Bowl contender? He is 31 years old.
He's 31, yeah.
So that might be a part of it.
I think the NFL has less control over players than, or I should say the opposite, that the NFL, like the general managers, they kind of run the asylum where the NHL, the players have, the no trade clauses and just everything. Yeah. The players really control more in their collective bargaining agreement in the NHL than the NFL does, which is funny because the NFL makes like the average player makes 20 times. Like an average good player makes 20 times what a great NHL player
Sure.
makes.
Vita Vea is asking for money right now that would, I'm sure, have him be the highest paid player
bankrupt
in hockey.
Vancouver. Yeah.
Right. It also, by the way, guaranteed contracts would be an easy point here, right?
Yes.
There is no renegotiating in hockey. So if a guy's asking out, it's only about the team and the situation. That for the most part. Vita Vea is in the final year of his deal. He actually makes $17 million per year, which already would be the most in hockey. So he makes a good amount of money. He's tremendous.
He's so good.
And the reason I wanted to get into it on him isn't just because, Bills, they should be in on every star player that is mentioned or that is named as someone that could be dealt. But I don't know if you were on Twitter last night when he asked for the trade, but a parade of analysts, Steve Palazzolo was the first one I saw, and there were many others, that were lining up to be like, this is the perfect person to put in the Bills' defense.
For sure, yeah.
And that's because you're getting a nose tackle that can also rush the passer, right? Big guy, it's going to eat up blocks, and many of those guys don't also present a threat to get to the quarterback, and the Bills never really, let's look back on their offseason. All the things that they did they ever really do anything at nose tackle?
No.
Like they just said, the Deion Walker was kind of going to transition to being that, and that Dwayne Carter was going to transition to being that. I guess I love the player. It's hard not to love the player. He's a great player. Does it feel too late for the Bills to make a move of this magnitude?
Like in the season? Like
camp starts tomorrow.
No, I don't think
they
it's too late.
don't have a lot of cap space. I'll pull up the exact number that they have. You don't think it's too late? They could do this move today if they thought that it made sense.
I think the Bills traded Sammy Watkins on August 11th. Anything can happen.
After a preseason game.
Yes, anything
Right.
can happen. So I would say absolutely not too late. I think I kind of agree with I would say a large majority of NFL Twitter that it makes the most sense of any team because of the fit and the need. They're transitioning to a 3-4. He is the 3-4 nose tackle. I mean,
It's him and Dexter Lawrence.
when you
right?
think of true nose tackles, Vita Vea is like him and Tony Saragusa are your two, I mean, just perfect aesthetic body type, mean streak. But I think the only thing that I would think of is 31 at this point. Like, what's that contract look like? The Bills, they still have the Deion Dawkins lever they have not pulled.
Right. Which I
So-
think they, in this case, like
That's what they would
if
have
they
to do.
wanted to do this, they would, I think, have to do that.
They would have to do it. And the thing is, too, is I don't know how much it would cost. I don't think it costs a first-round pick at this point in the game. He wants out.
Right.
What are you trading, a second-round pick?
For a 31-year-old that's on the final year of his contract at a position that is not really a premium position.
No. And
I don't think it should cost a first-round pick.
What are you giving him, a 3-year, $22 million a year deal?
Mm-hmm.
More? Is it going to cost more than that? Because you can't give him a 6-year deal or something. But, I mean, you might, because you might want 3 void years on that.
Right. I'm trying to find what he is asking for. It's going to be a raise over $17 million.
Would agree.
So, what numbers you thought there? 22, 25?
Sure. Somewhere in that.
Are we talking 30 for him? Like, at what point does it become untenable?
What's Myles Garrett making?
40.
Right.
He's not getting that. He's not getting edge rusher money.
No.
But is he getting...
What's Dexter Lawrence making?
That's the guy that's right to look at here. Dexter Lawrence,
'Cause he's
who
what,
got
same
traded
age?
to the Bengals this offseason. He $28 million per year.
That's probably what you're paying him. You're probably paying him 30.
Would you pay him $28 million per year?
Yeah, I think you'd have to. I don't think the Bills can do that.
So they would be able to get him in.
And then restructure the deal, or
And
structure the
then-
deal so that the money goes into the next 2 seasons.
Right. Which would be, if you give him the extension, the cap it's going to be lowered and you could probably fit it all in.
Yep.
I think this is an idea. I think this is a real,
I think it's a real idea.
This is, I think, no puns intended at all. This is the whale of the offseason. This is not quite Garrett, but Max Crosby or A.J. Brown when he was available. The star player that the Bills haven't really acquired in recent off seasons. This would be a really good opportunity for them to do it. He's amazing and plays a position that they didn't really address this offseason, and he wants out because of money. And again, I think the likelihood is he's negotiating with Tampa Bay. The Bucs have a lot to deal with though right now because Baker Mayfield wants a new contract.
Yep.
Right.
They just lost their cornerstone wide receiver and Mike
Right.
Evans.
Like they might be at a crossroads.
They won't fire their head coach.
Yeah, he's still there.
He stinks.
That's
very
that's
clear.
incredible
He stinks.
that
Yeah.
he is still there.
And they've lost in back-to-back years, I think, really good offensive play callers.
Yeah.
That are, at least one of them is a very good head coach. The other doesn't have a franchise quarterback. But, like, you've let 2 really good offensive coordinators walk out the door to be successful NFL head coaches while you still have, the Sean McDermott of the NFC, basically, without even as much success?
I was going to say, he does not have.
But he is
He
that
does not
kind.
have that
He's-
record.
He's the boring, defensive coordinator who
runs his scheme, and that's,
no frills whatsoever.
Yeah. What is his record all time, you think?
I bet you it's
He is.
probably bad from the Jets.
13 games below 500, and
Yeah,
you're
I was-
right. Like, most of that is. He's basically a 500 coach that also coached the Jets for a couple years. Although he did go 10-6 with the Jets.
That is borderline. He might deserve a Nobel
Wow,
Prize
He is. So his first year
for that work.
as a permanent head coach in the NFL, Todd Bowles, he he's the coach of that Jets team that the Bills eliminate in Week 17. Fitz. Here. Remember that game?
Yes.
I'm at that game. McKelvin with a pick at the end of the first half.
Sure.
And they knock the Jets out from playoff contention. They would have made it. They would have won 11 games, and they would have made it. So I think Vea's a really interesting idea. I like Joe Marino's tweet on this yesterday. Like, I will buy one of these if you do this trade, and it was the gray Bills jersey.
Would agree.
From
That
yesterday.
is how you get me to buy a gray jersey.
Vita Vea. You would buy a Vita Vea jersey? Or would you not because it's a big guy?
I would 100%.
You'd be fine?
I'd buy a big guy jersey.
He wears number 50, by the way, which is a nice, interesting number for a defensive lineman.
Especially because Greg Rousseau just got rid of it.
He did. I mean,
He's in 15
I'm
now.
not sure if anybody took it.
It's available.
Yeah.
50's available.
I think you're right that it shouldn't cost a first-round pick, and I'd be excited by it. The only thing I wouldn't be totally thrilled by, I guess, is that you are prioritizing that in that way, run defense. Like, I don't mind them trying to be better at stopping the run, but they have been putrid against the run for 8 years, and it's never really cost them anything.
Yeah.
Not in the playoffs specifically, right? Like, their pass defense is always what cost them in the playoffs. And I don't want to just say to everything, well, they've had the record they've had, so that's the right way to do it. You have Josh Allen. Like, you could choose a lot of different paths, and you're going to have the record that you do. But the path they chose under Sean McDermott was, we don't care about stopping the run. We're going to tell you we care about it because you're asking, and it would be ridiculous for us
to say no.
Every
right.
week they get asked about run defense at press conferences, and it'd be crazy for them to sit up there and say, like, oh, we don't care about it. But their actions have told us for a long time they don't care about it. I don't know if Jim Leonard cares about it. McDermott didn't, it was fine, but Jim Leonard is coming in, and he comes from a team that was very good at stopping the run. And I wonder how much they would, I mean, this move would say, if they were to do it, we are not letting teams run on us anymore. And they might be saying that already.
I do think they care about it a little more because they talked a lot about stopping the run in their introductory press conference with Joe Brady with Brandon Beane. So I think they do care about it maybe more than Sean McDermott cared about it. But I guess where I get on this is, of course, I see the benefit of having I see sort of a domino effect for a Vita Vea trade, and it's not just they're going to be better defending the run, especially in the middle.
Yeah.
But I also think about what it does for Deion Walker's ability to move, not just as a standalone one technique nose tackle, zero, whatever he wants to play up the middle, because now I can see him moving all around this defensive line. Mm-hmm. I also see Ed Oliver never facing a double team ever again. And I think about what that does to their ability in their pass rush if he's never seeing a double team ever again. So, and I think the same way about Deion Walker, what his capabilities are. Does TJ Sanders, I kept wanting to say Parker. TJ Sanders, does his career look different if he never has to face a double team on the interior of the defensive line? I don't know. So I do see like a domino effect of what his presence brings to the middle of this defense. Obviously, stopping the run for them, it should be easier with a 350-pound best anchor nose tackle in the league. I also think are we not just talking more symbolically than anything else? I think we've all sort of gotten to this point with Buffalo sports right now where both of the teams are good again. Mm-hmm. Both of the teams are kind of
like one step away.
Make a move. I think is that what everybody is really wanting this offseason is something juicy, something that says we're trying to win a championship. I don't know that a defensive tackle, a nose tackle is sticking the flag in the ground saying we're here to win a championship.
Right.
But I think at least represents a move. And I think this fan base right now is dying for a move for one of these franchises. And not for nothing, but I think the Bills really kind of are the team that have needed it the most. The Sabres are just entering this quote-unquote window for themselves because they're still very young. The Bills quarterback just turned 30. Mm-hmm. So, like, I know that the window's open as long as Josh Allen's good. I don't know. I'm not going to take for granted how long he's good for. You know, Daniel Jones just tore his Achilles tendon. God forbid something like that happens to Josh Allen at this point in his career, and you're waiting around hoping that you can extend this window out 2 years down the line. I don't care about this window being open till 2034. I care about at some point winning a Super Bowl. I just don't know that Vita Vea is the player that signifies or is the, final piece, or at least the thing representing we're finally all in. And we have not seen Brandon Beane push his chips to the center of the table. Part of firing Sean McDermott is some of that, but there has not been the personnel move that has been like, I think Jeremy tweeted out, like, we're waiting for a move from the general manager so he deserves to put the sunglasses back on. Because it's been a while.
It's been a long time. I really think it's been since Vaughn.
Even like...
That is 5 years ago.
Like, I think about this, 3 years ago, when they started banging out the Grousseau, the Bernard, the Benford, all those deals that were like, these are pretty good deals. I mean, they're getting hometown discounts. It's exactly like the Sabres.
Yeah.
Benson, we got a great deal on Benson. We're getting these guys their extensions a year before they really pop off in terms of value, and then they outprice themselves for here. We've got all of these great deals. And DJ Moore is probably the only one I look at and say, that's not a great deal. But I will say, it feels like because we're so thirsty for some kind of big swing that Vita Vea, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
It's a lot of money that they have tied up in guys that are not needle movers, right? Like they are good players. And is Greg Rousseau worth half the money that the top edge rushers in the league make? Sure.
Probably.
Is Terrell Bernard worth less than half of what the top linebackers in the league make? Sure. Yeah. Benford, $10 million less than the top corner. Sure. But once you add all these guys together, that's how the Bills have found themselves as having near the bottom of the league in cap space every single year without the needle movers.
Yep.
It's fine to have a couple guys like that, but when your team is filled with them, that's ultimately this has been the consequence, is when a Myles Garrett or Vita Vea, they just have to do a little bit of work. They could do it. But when players of this magnitude become available, it's harder for you because you got a lot of middle-of-the-road contracts. You live in the middle outside of Josh Allen. I'm with you. Vea is incredible. It's all about the position for me and whether or not that is this move. This is about let's go win the Super Bowl. For a nose tackle, again, this is maybe the best nose tackle in football, and the Bills don't really have a true nose tackle. And I see a lot of people that love the idea of it, but I'm with you to some extent that if it was an edge rusher or a different position, a more premium position with a player of this caliber, I think I'd be jumping at it quicker. But I'd still would be excited if the Bills did it. I think it would probably would make everybody better on their defensive line, which should be looked at as a positive. 803-0550 is the phone number. If you got a thought on Vita Vea, if the Bills should go all in for him. Also, I got a poll idea on the uniforms of yesterday. We only got about a half hour of reaction, and then the rest of the day was filled with
vitriol, anger, sadness.
Those words work for what we saw. The 99 Club in Madden is officially out, and spoiler alert, Josh Allen is included, and got a
People
Allen
are
number
mad.
I want to get to as well. So, it's led to the dumbest Josh Allen analysis that I think exists, that we see pop up a couple times a year. So we'll get to that as well. We got a lot of guests today. We got Ryan Talbot coming up at 7. We'll preview some training camp, and then we'll talk a little bit on the Ravens later on today's show, and we'll also talk a little bit about the Patriots.
Good, because I hate the Ravens. So
I know you hate the Ravens. We'll see if that
my new Dolphins
remains.
My new Dolphins.
New Dolphins.
Yeah, because Dolphins, I mean, we don't have to think about them. They're not relevant anymore.
It's Jeremy and Joe. Jeremy's off today. Your phone call's next here on WGR.
I also think is it not, are we not just talking more symbolically than anything else? I think we've all sort of gotten to this point with Buffalo sports right now where both of the teams are good again.
Mm-hmm.
Both of the teams are kind of
like one step away.
make a move. I think is that what everybody is really wanting this offseason is something juicy, something that says we're trying to win a championship. I don't know that a defensive tackle, a nose tackle is sticking the flag in the ground saying we're here to win a championship.
Right.
But I think at least represents a move. And I think this fan base right now is dying for a move for one of these franchises. And not for nothing, but I think the Bills really kind of are the team that have needed it the most. The Sabres are just entering this quote-unquote window for themselves because they're still very young. The Bills quarterback just turned 30. So, like, I know that the window's open as long as Josh Allen's good. I don't know. I'm not going to take for granted how long he's good for. You know, Daniel Jones just tore his Achilles tendon. God forbid something like that happens to Josh Allen at this point in his career, and you're waiting around hoping that you can extend this window out 2 years down the line. I don't care about this window being open till 2034. I care about at some point winning a Super Bowl. I just don't know that Vita Vea is the player that signifies or is the, final piece or at least the thing representing we're finally all in. And we have not seen Brandon Beane push his chips to the center of the table. Part of firing Sean McDermott is some of that, but there has not been the personnel move that has been like, I think Jeremy tweeted out, like, we're waiting for a move from the general manager so he deserves to put the sunglasses back on. Because it's been a while.
It's been a long time. I really think it's been since Vaughn.
Even like the
that
good
is 5 years ago.
The Bills report to St. John Fisher today to begin training camp tomorrow. Coverage of training camp on WGR presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash? You've got to call the Barnes Firm. 1-800-8-million. Around the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that Buccaneers tackle Vita Vea has requested a trade. The Vikings, they're signing linebacker Jamal Adams. The Colts place wide receiver Alec Pierce following ankle surgery on the active PUP list. The Athletics' Matt Schneidman considers it unlikely Micah Parsons, dealing with the knee injury, returns before Week 4. And the Athletic also reports that the domestic violence investigation into Josh Jacobs is still open. In baseball, the Blue Jays, they beat the Nationals 3-2. The Yankees beat the White Sox 9-5. The Red Sox bested the A's 4-2. And the Mets, they beat the Braves 14-3. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
We like the Bills' defense to rebound a little bit this year. We think a couple of things. First of all, it's just general rebounding, right? They were a good defense until last year. They were really bad on third downs, really bad on third downs, 30th in the league. So it's much more likely that they play a lot closer to what they did on the first two downs, which is like 14th. And then they added some guys, right? Bradley Chubb, Gardner Johnson, rookies like T.J. Parker. You know, it looks like they added some talent and didn't necessarily, like you said, the guys who are gone didn't really get signed by other teams. So did they lose a lot? Not as much as we think that they added. So we like the defense to rebound a bit.
That's Aaron Schatz. He thinks the defense will rebound a bit. We'll get to your phone calls in a moment here. Good morning, it's Jeremy and Joe. Jeremy's off today. On the defense rebounding, so that would be interesting in how they would do that. I would assume that would just strictly be kind of what we ended the last segment talking about. And I guess that could be via Vita Vea.
Wow.
That's not going to work.
Do that. No. Say that.
If he comes here, we're going to have to eliminate the word via on that. He would do it. But otherwise, we'll see what kind of effort they make to stopping the run. That's really their only place to get better. I mean, last season was their rebound as a pass defense. 2 years ago.
Yes, that's right.
I was just looking in the break at McDermott's defense's EPA per play, both against the pass and against the rush, like year by year. And pretty much every single season has been the same story. They are elite against the pass.
Yep.
And there's some years where they're middle of the pack against the run. There's some years where they're at the bottom against the run, whatever. But they're usually a tremendous defense against the pass. 2024, I don't know what changed, and I don't remember why this happened, but it was flipped. 2 years ago, it was totally flipped on its head, where the Bills against the rush, as a rush defense, EPA per rush, were the fifth best defense in football. And against the pass, they were 22nd. Last year, they went back to what they had been. 7th against the pass, 31st against the run. So, okay, but think of what they were last year. They were, by EPA per play, and there are other ways to measure it, they were the 7th best pass defense in football. That's pretty good.
Yeah, would agree.
I don't think anybody would say right now they wouldn't sign up for that. But if they go from the 31st run defense to the 15th run defense, that's, I think, my ticket to having a better defense than I had last year. I maintain what I was as a pass defense, and I take a jump as a run defense. And that, I think, would do it. And as Schatz mentioned there, like maybe you want to be better on third downs.
and even Schatz had mentioned, like, their pressure rate's not the problem. They were getting after the quarterback. They just weren't getting him down. And that had really been, I think, a blueprint of Sean McDermott's defense is almost got to the quarterback.
Didn't it take forever in McDermott's defense to get to the quarterback? Like there are
did.
pressures and then there are quick pressures. And I remember seeing a stat on
That's
Rousseau
right.
about this. Like
Yep.
Greg Rousseau has one of the top pressure rates in football, but then you go to quick pressures and there's like none of them.
Nothing. Yeah. He's not, because no one's winning true one-on-one battles right away on that defensive line, or had. But like I think about that, I think the biggest part of the 2024 struggles, Joe, is just personnel. I mean, on the back end, you have Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin starting most of your football games on the back end.
Right.
You have, at that point,
Who's playing corner?
Greg is Rasul Douglas, who had really fallen off in the second part of the season that year. And then you also have Kyrie Elam playing football games for you.
Because Benford missed a couple games that year.
And Kyrie Elam's playing. So they are, I think, victim of a secondary that just wasn't good.
Right.
They just weren't good in their secondary.
Also, Milano was absent that year. So linebacker against the pass probably wasn't doing great, if I remember right.
Yeah, that's because Dorian Williams leads them in tackles that year, 2024.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That Dorian Williams led them in tackles one year?
Yeah, by a pretty sizable margin.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I love to hear any optimism about the defense, because I've been on the record that I have no idea how good or bad their defense could be.
How about this?
I think it could be anywhere.
Dorian Williams and Terrell Bernard lead them in tackles. Guess who the next two players, their third and fourth leading tacklers that season?
I would bet like the safeties, like Hamlin.
Both safeties.
Yeah, Hamlin and Rapp.
Yeah. It's just not good, by the way.
No.
If your safeties are making a majority of your tackles, that means the running back's getting to the second level a little too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's go to Rob in Hamburg. On the Vita Vea conversation, the Bills defense. What's up, Rob?
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Listen,
Morning.
I am so disillusioned with all Pagula Sports Entertainment teams. It's crazy, and I'm not the only one. I don't understand where we're going. The Bills will never, I mean, this is great radio fodder for you guys to talk about getting another guy, but it'll never happen. Brandon Beane is mediocre, mid, just like our sports teams. There is no sense of urgency. We've lived through the longest droughts in forever for both teams, and they've been supported. Yes, it wanes here and there, but they've been supported. And all they do is milk money out of you. These New Jerseys are nothing but a money grab. The guy bought the team for $1.4 billion. It's worth $6 billion now, and it's only on the back of the people's here, and they're not giving them anything. Brandon Beane in 2023 went off on the Rams GM for joking about him mortgaging the future when they went to win a Super Bowl. They missed the playoffs for 1 year, and now they're one of the top contenders in the league with only four less wins than the Bills have. At what point do they say we are going to give these people what they want and go for a championship? You got Hellebuck sitting out there. This guy Vita Veda, I don't Vita Vijamin, whatever his name is. I don't care. I'm not a huge freaking sports guy. I'm a casual fan that lives here and has to deal with the mentality of the people around here on a Monday morning when the Bills stink. And I have to listen to that. I love going out in the camaraderie of watching a game, but I will no longer support any of these teams financially. This is the biggest joke in the history of Buffalo. I mean, it's just like everything else here. They milk the people for everything and they give them nothing. At what point do they worry about the fans and giving them what they want, not their job security? Yarmo is turning into the same thing as Beane. They're not doing anything to get better. They're not trying to give the fans what they want. They're just making them happy, throwing stuff at them. The shirts and the uniforms are the latest example of that. That's just a money grab. That is nothing other than a money grab. There was no marketing study. There was nothing about it. It was just thrown at you thinking that, it's the Bills. You're going to buy anything we put out there. And that's a joke. That's a slap in the face to the fans. And you're going blue collar where the gritty. No, you're not. You're trying to make a white collar stadium and forcing everybody out of it when it was paid for by the taxpayers here. This is one of the worst examples of how Buffalo gets crapped on by its own, and they're not even our own people. As soon as their jobs are over, Yarmo, Beane, they will leave. They will not stay here. They're not Buffalo. They can talk about how they're Buffalo. They have nothing to do with Buffalo. Sorry, guys, but I'm fed up.
Thanks, Rob, for the call. One thing I will say about the uniforms quickly is, and I'm sure they did do marketing campaigns. It just might have led them to a different position than many thought it might have. It's hard to be a money grab, though, if people don't buy the jerseys. And I'm not sure how many people are going to buy the jerseys. I think that is a lot of frustration there that I have and that many have about both of these teams feel capable of winning championships, and they just need that move that's going to put them over the top, and they've been unable to do it this offseason. Both teams.
Yeah.
I still am reserving like all of that angst on the Sabres. I think they are trying to do that, and I still believe they are getting Connor Hellebuck. The Bills, it's been a few years of this mentality of, we'll just slap a couple of pretty good players around the roster, around Josh Allen, and then we'll ask him to carry the whole thing. I don't know. Like, they built a run game for him. They built an offensive line for him. But I agree with the Rams comparison. Like, I do agree with that. I do have a lot of times every year where it's two teams for me. It's the Rams and it's the Eagles. Those are ultra-aggressive franchises that have won Super Bowls, and that, once they might have one down year, but they're about as consistently great as the Bills are. And they are out there every time there's a great player, and they are getting those deals done. And I do have a few times every year where I wish, I wish there was a little more of that Eagles or Rams mentality in the Bills.
No doubt. A couple of things on Rob. I like that Rob was like, I'm a casual fan, but I'm also calling into a sports talk radio station at 6:45 a.m.
The honesty there. Like, I'm not really a sports guy. I love that.
Yeah, that was good. I did appreciate that. But listen, I mean, I think there was a lot of broader frustrations that Rob was sort of sharing with us. And I don't want to necessarily lump in Jarmo Kekalainen, who doesn't have a full year on the job yet, remaking a roster. But frankly, that's a roster that is they're in a much different, much newer state than the Buffalo Bills are. The Buffalo Bills are to me, they are trying to do what the New England Patriots did. But the problem is I think the Bills are right now victims of not winning a Super Bowl when Josh Allen was on his rookie contract. And that is going to be every franchise's best shot at winning a Super Bowl is when you're not paying your quarterback top of the league money. But the Rams are doing it right now with Matthew Stafford. The Rams have the highest paid defensive player. They have the highest paid non-quarterback on the offensive side. They're probably, or had one of the highest paid non-quarterbacks on the offensive side.
I think Stafford has the highest cap hit of any quarterback.
And Devontae Adams is right up there, top 10, top 7 in wide receiver money.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua, if they can trust him, is going to break the bank there. So, they have been ultra aggressive, but they've also drafted well. And I think that's the thing the Bills have not done over the last couple of seasons is they have not drafted as well as the Rams, as the Eagles. And that gives them more flexibility to be aggressive when you're getting cheap elite level labor. And the Bills have not gotten cheap elite level labor. And what you're seeing, I think, is just the sort of result of not having consecutive drafts where you're stockpiling players that can get it done for cheap.
Yeah. I always also think the crutch of the Allen contract gets used a little much. Not sure they really did it a lot this offseason, but...
And on top of that, here's where the crutch of the Allen contract always gets me, is that guy... If they could go up to him every season and restructure that contract or extend it another year, because that's what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs do. They just change it every year. They give him a little bit more and they create a little more flexibility. So the idea that there's nothing they can do and they're just backed into this corner and their quarterback's holding them hostage, I just think it's nonsensical.
Last year there were 11 teams that had a higher. Oh wait, hold on, wrong list. Last year there were 9 quarterbacks that had a higher cap hit than Josh Allen did. You can do it. You can figure out a way. I mean, really, I'm looking right now. It's actually, this is kind of crazy. In the last 15 years, do you know how many quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl on their rookie contract?
2.
Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. Carson Wentz, Nick Foles should maybe count as a third, right? Wentz was on the deal, and Foles was on a backup contract, so they didn't have the big quarterback. But that's it. Like, otherwise, like, Brady won a bunch of Super Bowls, not on a rookie contract, and Stafford won a Super Bowl.
In fairness, Brady
not
was
on a
getting
rookie
paid
contract.
under the table by the franchise.
Absolute cap circumvention. Where's Pablo Torre when you need him on the Brady cap circumvention story? If you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to you coming up. Bills are reporting to training camp today, and then they'll be on the field tomorrow at St. John Fisher. More of your phone calls next on WGR. The reason I wanted to get into it on him isn't just because, Bills, they should be in on every star player that is mentioned or that is named as someone that could be dealt. But I don't know if you were on Twitter last night when he asked for the trade, but a parade of analysts, Steve Palazzolo was the first one I saw, and there were many others, that were lining up to be like, this is the perfect person to put in the Bills defense.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's because you're getting a nose tackle that can also rush the passer, right? Big guy that's going to eat up blocks, and many of those guys don't also present a threat to get to the quarterback. And the Bills never really, let's look back on their offseason. All the things that they did they ever really do anything at nose tackle?
No.
Like, they just said, that Deion Walker was kind of going to transition to being that, and that Dwayne Carter was going to transition to being that. I guess I love the player. It's hard not to love the player. He's a great player. Does it feel too late for the Bills to make a move of this magnitude?
Like in the season? Like,
camp starts tomorrow.
No, I don't think it's too late.
They don't have a lot of cap space. I'll pull up the exact number that they have. You don't think it's too late? They could do this move today if they thought that it made sense?
I think the Bills traded Sammy Watkins on August 11th. Anything can happen.
After a preseason game.
Yes, anything can happen. So I would say absolutely not too late. I think I kind of agree with I would say a large majority of NFL Twitter that it makes the most sense of any team because of the fit and the need. They're transitioning to a 3-4. He is the 3-4 nose tackle. I mean,
it's him and Dexter Lawrence.
When you think of true nose tackles, Vita Vea is like him and Tony Saragusa, like are your two. I mean, just perfect aesthetic body type. Mean streak, but I think the only thing that I would think of is 31 at this point. Like, what's that contract look like? The Bills, they still have the Deion Dawkins lever they have not pulled.
Right. Which I think they, in this case, like
that's what they would have to do.
If they wanted to do this, they would, I think, have to do that.
They would have to do it. And the thing is, too, I don't know how much it would cost. I don't think it costs a first-round pick at this point in the game. He wants out.
Right.
What are you trading, a second-round pick?
For a 31-year-old that's on the final year of his contract at a position that is not really a premium position?
No. And
I don't think it should cost a first-round pick.
What do you
We're late to a break. Terry, if you stay on hold, we'll get you on the top of the hour. Promise. We had some fire in the last segment a bit. Vita Vea. Vita Vea sparking all this emotion. I didn't think that would happen. A nose tackle. Deion Walker right now, probably the Bills' number one nose tackle. Ryan Talbot, when we come back, and your phone calls. Training camp, they report today. They're on the field tomorrow. We'll also talk a little bit about the Ravens later on and New England, the next two teams on the Bills' schedule that we have not yet dove into. Nate Geary's in for Jeremy. Joe Cali hanging out. Owen Parker as well. To your phone calls next. Ryan Talbot as well. Coming up on WGR. The reason I wanted to get into it on him isn't just because, Bills, they should be in on every star player that is mentioned or that is named as someone that could be dealt. But I don't know if you were on Twitter last night when he asked for the trade, but a parade of analysts, Steve Palazzolo was the first one I saw, and there were many others, that were lining up to be like, this is the perfect person to put in the Bills' defense.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's because you're getting a nose tackle that can also rush the passer, right? Big guy that's going to eat up blocks, and many of those guys don't also present a threat to get to the quarterback. And the Bills never really, let's look back on their offseason. All the things that they did they ever really do anything at nose tackle?
No.
Like they just said, the Deion Walker was kind of going to transition to being that, and that Dwayne Carter was going to transition to being that. I guess I love the player. It's hard not to love the player. He's a great player. Does it feel too late for the Bills to make a move of this magnitude?
Like in the season? Like
camp starts tomorrow.
No, I don't think it's too late.
They don't have a lot of cap space. I'll pull up the exact number that they have. You don't think it's too late? They could do this move today if they thought that it made sense?
I think the Bills traded Sammy Watkins on August 11th. Anything can happen.
After a preseason game.
Yes, anything can happen. So I would say absolutely not too late. I think I kind of agree with I would say a large majority of NFL Twitter that it makes the most sense of any team because of the fit and the need. They're transitioning to a 3-4. He is the 3-4 nose tackle. I mean,
it's him and Dexter Lawrence.
When you think of true nose tackles, Vita Vea is like him and Tony Saragusa, like are your two. I mean, just perfect aesthetic body type. Mean streak, but I think the only thing that I would think of is 31 at this point. Like, what's that contract look like? The Bills, they still have the Deion Dawkins lever they have not pulled.
Right. Which I think they, in this case, like
that's what they would have to do.
If they wanted to do this, they would, I think, have to do that.
They would have to do it. And the thing is, too, I don't know how much it would cost. I don't think it costs a first-round pick at this point in the game. He wants out.
Right.
What are you trading, a second-round pick?
For a 31-year-old that's on the final year of his contract at a position that is not really a premium position?
No. And
I don't think it should cost a first-round pick.
What do you
The Bills report to St. John Fisher today, begin training camp tomorrow. Coverage of training camp on WGR presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by The Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call The Barnes Firm. 1-800-8-million. Around the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that Buccaneers tackle Vita Vea has requested a trade. Ahem. The Vikings, they're signing linebacker Jamal Adams. The Colts, they've placed wide receiver Alec Pierce following ankle surgery on the active PUP list. And the Athletics' Matt Schneiderman considers it unlikely Micah Parsons, dealing with the knee injury, returns before Week 4. The Athletic also reports that the domestic violence investigation to Josh Jacobs is still open. In baseball, the Blue Jays, they beat the Nationals 3-2. The Yankees beat the White Sox 9-5. The Red Sox bested the A's 4-2. And the Mets, they beat the Braves 14-3. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
The team around Josh Allen continues to get worse. Moving off McDermott, I mean, I understand it. People were out on him. But promoting your offensive coordinator, Brady? So now you got a first-time head coach? He's running the whole ship. And now you're looking at a defense. They were 31st in the league against the run. They didn't get better on the defensive line. So they got a new DC now, toggling to a 3-4. I don't know that I love that. We'll see. Jury's still out. The big move was, hey, let's bring in DJ Moore. We need to win on the outside because Keon Coleman, he's not that guy. So we overpay for DJ Moore. And the biggest hit was promoting the GM, giving him all the power. And you look at his last draft picks and it's like, whoa, I think Josh Allen's got to leave Buffalo to win a Super Bowl.
God, I love almost August. Holy shnikes. Welcome back. Nick Erie here filling in for Jeremy White. Joe DiBiase here as well. We're going to the Wester Hotline now because our man Ryan Talbot, who is on the Bills beat for Syracuse.com, you might also know him as the co-host of the Shout podcast with our other buddy Matt Perino. Good morning, Ryan. Any crazy stuff you want to say on the show, since we're letting everybody say crazy stuff on the airways, I guess, today?
You know, morning, guys. No, nothing too crazy to say. I think that was enough that you just aired, and then the Bills kind of did their own crazy yesterday with that jersey reveal. So I'll let it stick with those guys for now.
You know, let's start with the wet concrete jerseys, Ryan. We only got about a half hour yesterday to react as, the news dump cycle, the Monday news dump of the, I guess we're calling them the Nickel City jerseys. I think there's a lot of people that hate them, very few that like them. What are your general thoughts of the jerseys? We don't exactly know how many times they'll wear this upcoming season.
Yeah, when I first saw it and they explained it, I said, just because it has meaning, it doesn't mean that it looks good. At the end of the day, this is not a good-looking jersey helmet combination, and I joked that it'd be the perfect jersey to wear on the bye week, so that way Bills fans didn't have to see it at least one of the times that they're going to wear it this year.
Yeah, listen, I also think about it this way, Ryan. It's a jersey. They'll probably wear it once. I don't know if they're supposed to wear it multiple times this year or not. Their regular jerseys do it for me. So, I think I can get over the once or twice this season that they're going to be wearing the jersey. But I also understand, too, Ryan, that it's the 28th of July, and today is day one, technically, of training camp. So we're finally finding some storylines to talk about that aren't this, I guess, little meaning, but we are at the end of July. We're pulling straws right now, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking for anything and everything. So once we actually get some training camp practices back, we'll have a lot more meaningful Bills football to talk about.
Well, if we could for a second maybe not talk about Bills football and talk about Vita Vea's availability, Ryan, I'd love to do that with you. Get your thoughts on the 31-year-old defensive tackle, the nose tackle from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday announcing, or at least around the league announcing, that he has requested a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thoughts on any potential the Bills could make a swing for what I think a lot of people assume or think is the best nose tackle at football, even if he is 31 years old?
Yeah, I think the Bills would be foolish not to be calling and making some kind of offer. I don't think that you're going to have to move heaven and earth for a player like this. It's not a Myles Garrett situation. You're probably looking at a day 2 pick to get a Vita Vea. And I saw some of the dialogue online yesterday. Bills fans saying, well, the Broncos didn't have a traditional nose tackle last year, and you saw how good that defense was. I don't care about traditional versus non-traditional. If you ask Jim Leonard if he wants Vita Vea in his defense, he's going to say yes 100% of the time. So he's exactly what this team needs based on last year's run defense, looking at them being 31st in rush DVOA and 31st in runs of 10-plus yards. He is still an efficient, or actually probably elite run stuffer, very good at getting after the quarterback. You put him on a D-line where you have Ed Oliver, you have Deion Walker, and then you have some, younger players that are unknowns. It gets intriguing when you mix those guys in with the outside linebackers, and just knowing what Jim Leonard historically has brought to the table from his time at Wisconsin, what he's learned in Denver.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the linebackers, because I think that's a point Joe and I didn't even really bring up when talking about him like earlier last hour, because I think a lot of people immediately go to, well, what would he do to dramatically increase the effectiveness of a run defense that, let's face it, Ryan, for the better part of a decade-ish, wasn't really super prioritized. This was a defense that prioritized stopping the pass and stopping from getting beat deep. At sometimes it resulted in teams being able to run all over them. I view it as certainly would help them become more stout against the run, but I think he makes the guys around him on the defensive line better. If Ed Oliver never sees a double team again, I would think that really benefits Ed Oliver now and into the future. But your point about the linebackers, which I think has long been a point about them being an undersized defensive line, that it's very easy for opposing offenses, especially these power run games. I'm thinking, like Baltimore, of these offensive linemen being able to get to the second level relatively easily without having to really dedicate double teams to larger players on the interior of this Bills defensive line. So the linebacker situation with who they have, Ryan, I think you even made just a better point then.
Yeah, it frees those guys up. It allows them to make plays because, like you said, Vita Vea is going to attract double teams, which helps even Ed Oliver on the line, but it really helps the linebackers playing behind him.
Ryan Talbot with us, Syracuse.com on the Wester Hotline. Camp opens today. They report tomorrow on the field for practice. On this, the one thing trying to figure out, Ryan, is how much it's just an appetite to see the Bills do something big and fill a need. I mean, they really didn't address nose tackle. Also with the identity and the philosophy of wanting to be better at stopping the run. I felt like for years Sean McDermott would say that they wanted to be better at it, but their actions kind of spoke to they didn't really care that much because they were always not the best run defense, and oftentimes it worked. How different do you feel like that could be under Jim Leonard? Do you expect them to be, last year they're 31st in the league in EPA per play against the rush defensively. Would you expect that number to get dramatically better this year as a run defense?
It's hard to say in year one because I sit here and I look at this roster and there's a lot of players that Leonard is inheriting from Sean McDermott's regime. And that was a 4-3 base. That was a much different, probably in terms of the personnel packages that the players they targeted. So in year one, it's really tough to say because Leonard is going to have his hands tied a little bit based on who he has. I think it's going to take another year, maybe two, to get the exact type of personnel that he wants here. But there are some bright spots. Deion Walker was great last year. You have an Ed Oliver. I like the addition of Bradley Chubb. Greg Rousseau's always been great against the run. I know he's moving to the outside linebacker role, but he'll still be important in that area too. So I think that, there's nowhere to go but up pretty much based on last year's results. But am I expecting this to be a flip to a top 10 unit? Not necessarily. I still think he needs to get more guys in. Now, if Brandon Beane takes that swing for a Vita Vea, then we could start talking about being in that top third in the league and stopping the run.
Yeah. How has that always hit you, by the way? Have you always felt like it's been important for them to be a lot better against the run? Has it always bugged you that they haven't been better?
Not necessarily, because when you have Josh Allen in that offense putting up points, it a lot of times puts the opposing team in a situation where they can't run the ball as much as they would like. You do have teams like Baltimore that are generally they stick with it, but how many times have we seen teams where they've been hurting the Bills for the first 2.5 quarters of a game, and then they have to abandon it altogether. There were a few times in Miami where that happened, and maybe that was just Mike McDaniel being Mike McDaniel at the time, but they would abandon the run that was working, try to go to the pass, and in some ways maybe bail the Bills' defense out. But other times it's the Bills' offense being able to put up points and make teams be more one-dimensional. So it's a mix there. I think that obviously they want to be better against the run, though. If you're better against the run, that's only going to help with this aggressive style defense that I'm expecting Jim Leonhard to implement.
While we're on the defense, Ryan, camp opening tomorrow, what do you hope happens or expect to happen at cornerback? Do you feel like the best case scenario would be, I mean, obviously everyone would want both Max Harrison and Davison Igbinosun to show that they're capable of playing time. Is it more important for Hairston, though, just the first-round pick, and given that it is year 2, I mean, Igbinosun's a rookie, so I feel like if he had some growing pains, it would be more understandable.
Yeah, it's really important for Max Harrison to come and have a great camp. And one reason, you mentioned it, is Igbinosun. Igbinosun's going to put some pressure on him despite being a rookie. I don't think necessarily that he's going to win the job out of camp. Like you said, there's going to be some growing pains. There's some time for him to kind of learn, get up to speed in the NFL. But Harrison's coming in. He was a first-round pick of a regime that was very zone-heavy. He played in a very zone-heavy defense in college. Now you're asking him most likely to play a lot of man. He has the speed. He has quick feet. There's a lot of stuff that you really like about Max Hairston with the attributes in a man defense, but you have to see it first and foremost. And two, the availability needs to be there. There are some concerns already with his health, his durability based on his time in college and his first year in the pros. So he's got to be able to stay healthy. But I love the move for Igbinosun based on the fact that if you look at the last 4 to 5 years of playoff exits, every one of those games, they've either entered the game without one of their starting cornerbacks or they've lost one of their starters in game. You need as much depth as possible there. And, we can definitely question whether there's enough depth beyond those guys on the outside of cornerback. But I like that there's someone here to legitimately push Hairston.
I wonder what your thoughts, too, of how much this, I think defensive secondary, like the secondary as a whole, I think that we can expect them to run a lot of nickel, maybe not as much as Sean McDermott had over the past couple of seasons, although even last year they went more base 4-3 than we had seen in a long time under Sean McDermott. But considering that you can swap in C.J. Gardner-Johnson right now for what was a Taylor Rapp, Jordan Poyer, DeMar Hamlin sort of timeshare in that defensive backfield, a oft-injured, just clearly wasn't the same player in Taron Johnson for D. Alford. Like, what are your expectations for this secondary? And are we looking, or could we be looking at the best secondary this team has had really since, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White were in their primes?
I'm really excited about the secondary. Now, early in camp, could there be some miscommunications because there's so much new there? Absolutely. C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Cole Bishop, you want to see them get a lot of run together, but I love the depth behind them and the versatility of Gardner-Johnson in general in terms of how they can deploy him based on what they want to do. But you have Geno Stone that, 2023 led the AFC in interceptions. He's someone that's not necessarily a roster lock, but I like him enough in that mix of this defense and how he fits in. You have Jalen Kilgore, who is one of my favorite just prospects in this draft class. I thought he was a day 2 prospect. Bills getting him where they did. Ceiling is through the roof. So just those guys alone get me very excited about the safety room. And then you have Jordan Hancock, and how does he fit in between that nickel cornerback role behind D. Alford and the safety room? DeMar Hamlin, can he hold on? There's a lot of numbers and a surplus at the safety position. The cornerback position, I already talked about the outside, but D. Alford's very intriguing to me. He was the first player that the Bills targeted in free agency. So that tells you that they really felt like he was going to fit in perfectly to what Jim Leonhard is trying to do. The coverage is certainly there, the coverage ability and how they can use him. Like you said, Taron Johnson had lost a step a little bit in that respect. So I do feel like that alone is a big upgrade as well at the nickel cornerback position.
Ryan Talbot with us. Let's get to the offense a bit here. You had wrote recently on Syracuse.com, NewYorkUpstate.com about James Cook and his role as a pass catcher. It's been an interesting life with Cook for this, being called a sub back on the day they drafted him, and him not really becoming a crazy dynamic receiver in the pass game. He does a little of it, but he's really made his mark more as just one of the best runners in football. But you see that maybe increasing for him in the receiving game going into this year?
I do. I see a big uptick in terms of how the Bills are going to deploy their running backs as pass catchers, and that's thanks to Pete Carmichael Jr. And I know Carmichael Jr. is not going to be the play caller on offense, but Joe Brady brought him in for a reason, to add some wrinkles to this offense, to kind of pick his brain about what they can do. I think you'll see an uptick in play action pass, for instance, as well. But when it comes to the running back in the receiving game, you just target and look at the time in New Orleans where Carmichael Jr. had a lot of really good pass catching backs. There are 9 instances of running backs having 70-plus receptions in a season. Not many of them were Alvin Kamara, but there was some Pierre Thomas mixed in there. There were some Darren Sproles season. And then you even had some years where guys got injured, like a Reggie Bush year, where he was on pace for 70-plus receptions, and he left the season early. So they've always targeted the running backs in the passing game. And I'm looking at James Cook, who's never had more than 44 receptions in the season. I think that easily is going to get up to maybe closer to 60 this year. That could also kind of play a role in that running back 2 job and how it unfolds. Ty Johnson obviously kind of took over that role last year. I could see him maybe staying in that role because he is such a good pass catcher and all-around back. So I think the backs are really going to see a lot more receptions than what we're used to here in Buffalo.
Pierre Thomas, I'm going to be one of the only people that remembers that season, Ryan, because I think that was the first year I had ever played PPR fantasy. And Nate, listen to this stat line. Our league was like, we need to get rid of this because of this guy who had 77 catches for 500 yards, and he only had 500 rushing yards. He was great for that format. I would not have gotten to him on that list. I guess that would make it seem like, Ryan, though, here it might be more balanced, right? Because the idea that Cook would catch like something like that, like 70, 80 passes, I mean, maybe his target would be closer to that, right? More than you would think the reception number?
Yeah, I think 60 might be a little closer to what we might see in terms of receptions, that's 16 more than his career high. I don't think that's necessarily outrageous. And in terms of being balanced, I think they want to stay to a certain level of balance, but I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Brady airs it out more. And I know people are going to say, well, he was the offensive coordinator the last, however many seasons. I really do feel like Sean McDermott on a week-to-week basis sat down and said, hey, this is a game we need to really, attack them with the run game. We need to be more balanced just in general with this defense. We got to be able to keep them off the field, Buffalo's own defense, that is, just because they were getting gassed at times and they don't match up well. So while I still think you don't abandon the run because of how effective James Cook and company were last year, I think you're going to see it be a little bit more pass heavy than what we've seen in the last few seasons.
I think all year, Ryan, we're going to be doing this dance with the Bills of everything they do, especially on offense, really more so with Joe Brady, that looks different. And it's going to be, okay, well, is that because now McDermott's not here, or is that a player-driven thing? Like, I feel like figuring out, okay, what were the things that he maybe didn't feel comfortable doing before because McDermott was over him versus doing now. I feel like all year that's going to be a story for us.
Yeah, it's something to track, absolutely, in terms of the pass versus run percentages and how they play in certain situations. To Sean McDermott's credit, he got more aggressive as the time went on, at least in the regular season, in terms of the going forward and not. And I still think that Joe Brady is going to be on that side of things too. But there will be little things that we'll notice and we'll say, hey, that is a lot different or slightly different than what we've kind of grown accustomed to on offense and obviously on defense too, where that's going to be a completely different look.
Is there any position that you're looking at as a surplus position where we could see trades by, the end of training camp? And that would also go to, I guess, the hardest position group that you see right now to project, like who makes the roster.
Right. I think offensive line in general, the one thing I'll say about Brandon Beane is he's always done a really good job of having a strong starting unit, strong backups, and guys fighting for roster spots that ultimately don't make it, but he's able to trade them. He was able to trade guys like Wyatt Teller, Russell Bodine, Cody Ford. Teller was obviously the mistake of that trio to move him, but those are guys that he's moved in August. There's been players that he's moved in early September. Offensive line has always been that one area where the Bills have had extra players here and there, and teams are always looking for starting level or quality backup level talent. So whoever loses the backup center position, that's one of the areas where I think that one of those guys could go. you would like to have Lloyd Cushenberry on this roster for his starting experience, just in that backup role. You have Cedric Van Pran-Granger, who was a day 3 pick just a few years ago. Whoever loses that battle behind Connor McGovern, though, I could easily see them trying to move for a day 3 pick, with Cushenberry obviously having more value based on his time in the league.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about, Ryan, and maybe this lead up to training camp too, is like, I remember the day of the draft, especially the day 3 of the draft when we were here on Saturday, and that 4th round comes around and the Bills end up selecting Skylar Bell and Caleb Elarms-Orr. And I think at the time, everyone's attention was so fixated on a wide receiver because the Bills finally selected a wide receiver. But in the time since that Saturday and now, I really think the conversation has shifted more towards Elarms-Orr because there looks like a clear pathway to him playing and even maybe starting in this defense. But I wanted to ask you about Skylar Bell's chances of making an impact on Sundays and what he'd have to do this upcoming training camp, I think, to maybe steal reps away from a guy like Josh Palmer, who I think if you're looking at one guy for Bell to take snaps away from, he might be the one guy that makes the most sense.
Well, honestly, it might just be the availability aspect. Can Joshua Palmer stay healthy? If he misses some time this summer, that just opens up Bell to more opportunities and a chance to immediately leapfrog him. You know, in season, it's tough for me to sit here and project him to be a big contributor out of the gate. I think it's going to be something that we see his role grow as the season goes on because you have so many mouths to feed on this offense between DJ Moore, Khalil Shakir, you hope a healthy Dalton Kincaid. You Keon Coleman entering a pivotal year. He'll still have a role here in this offense. So for Bell to come in immediately and make an impact, I don't necessarily see it, but I do see him getting more opportunities as the year goes on. And he's a player that I was extremely high on in this draft class. There are a lot of day 3 picks that the Bills made that I was very high on that I think can come in here and eventually be impact players. And like you said, Elarms-Orr has that immediate path potentially to win a job right out of camp.
Is moving day for you too? Were you staying at camp tonight, or what are you looking at?
When I get up there, I'm lucky enough that I stay at the hotel because I'm not there every day. I'm kind of juggling the other job here at home, so I go up on the weekends. Matt is living that dorm life, though, so he'll be moving in here soon, and that's where we'll be doing our shows when I'm up there for those practices.
That's all right. You'll be comfortable. More comfortable. When you push the beds together, it's not bad, but the hotel is fine. Well, Ryan, thanks for joining, and we'll chat soon, maybe closer to the season.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Ryan Talbot, you could check out. He wrote about James Cook and pass catching, other things as well, Syracuse.com, also NewYorkUpstate.com. Check him on Twitter, at Ryan Talbot Bills. And, of course, the co-host of the Shout podcast with Matt Perino. Training camp today, Bills players report. I don't know when they're reporting. We'll get the video at some point, won't we, of what the guys are wearing
as they walk into the facility. Yeah.
Well, the thing we're going to need to track today, as this has become a fashion dispute on the show, how many of the players are wearing the baggy bottomed pants going into training camp today? And his team, baggy pants.
Absolutely, I am.
In like.
It started
Tommy
as
Fleetwood.
Like Fleetwood pants. It's the Fleetwood pants.
Like bell bottoms.
No.
Just not tapered.
Okay.
Yeah, like not
like a straight cut little baggy.
Okay, so you guys are anti
These guys,
jogger.
Yeah, right.
Anti-jogger.
Don't say you guys. I'm not.
Sorry,
he is.
Yeah.
Him and Fleetwood. Fleetwood is wearing pants that are going past his shoes now.
Really?
They're continuing to grow.
He's got him like perfectly cut right to the heel of the rubber.
He said that the last time.
Can't comprehend it.
I thought I saw a picture of Fleetwood recently where they were touching the grass. Maybe he was bent down weird or something on a chip. I don't know.
His fits very quickly went from, this is a cool bit where he is basically wearing the gear of the club or the place that he's playing at, to a big giant Blackstone across his.
The hat's terrible.
It's
I
so
have
bad.
No time for the hat.
The hat is bad.
Stuff.
What's the hat? I gotta look at that.
You haven't seen the hat? It just is a big gray hat that says Blackstone.
Blackstone. Just. Boof.
No, I've not seen that.
Okay,
yeah, there it is. Yep.
No, it's bad.
Horrible.
But the cut of his gear is that is it. He is the model.
Gross.
The guy that we're gonna. This is gonna be all about Allen here. What is Allen wearing going into camp?
New Balance.
Is Allen a jogger guy? Is Allen a?
I don't need to.
I think Allen's wearing shorts. It's going to be 80 degrees outside.
He will
I don't
be
think
wearing
we're
shorts.
Pants.
Allen is not my go-to. Listen, love the guy. He's not like my
Dion
go-to
Dawkins.
fashion icon.
Would agree
guy.
with that.
He's not. He's
I've seen him on the golf
retriever
course, too.
bro guy. Like I get it.
Fair.
And
Allen's
I've got-
also a jogger guy.
Right, and I've got no issue.
He underwhelms dress-wise on the golf course.
Let me
as
ask
well.
you, if you could have one ally on this, one Bills player walking into camp today that was wearing the pants you want, which player would you pick?
Dion would be good.
Okay.
I respect Dion's game. Ty Johnson.
I was just going to say Ty Johnson
Ty
has
Johnson.
real style.
Yeah.
Yes,
He has
does.
real
He gets
style.
down.
Yeah.
He's got a
All
look
right.
going.
He does.
He might be a little bit.
He curates a look.
Yeah.
He curates a look.
And his is a little more like a country sort of streetwear thing that maybe isn't quite my speed, but I would respect it, and it would be a nod to like this is cool, and he knows it's cool. If you ask him,
Yeah.
he's going to tell you that the big pants are cooler than the little pants. I'll tell you that right
Yeah,
now.
he's got a European vibe to him.
Yeah, sure.
Like a real Euro vibe.
I gotta think
Okay.
about that though. It's a good question. Which Bills guy would I most want to be like aligned with me style wise?
I wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't have got to Ty Johnson, but yeah, I'm looking.
Ty
Yeah,
Johnson's
I wouldn't
Instagram
have,
right now.
I
I think
wouldn't
you got a good
have
one.
tagged you as a Ty Johnson like guy. Like me, I'm more of a
right.
Shane Buechele guy.
Okay,
You know, like
sure.
backup quarterback, Wranglers, dirty Nikes.
I think
something
Tyler
like
Bass
that.
would be huge for the program.
Would agree.
That guy
Would
walks
agree.
in.
I would say maybe
suppose.
Reed Ferguson, but Reed Ferguson probably is just like your standard dad fit.
Cool.
like dad fit,
Yeah.
no
Okay.
frills.
like my dad.
Yeah,
like
yes,
my dad.
right,
maybe, a little
right.
bit.
Yes.
Bulldog.
Like definitely when he's in the mall,
Yeah.
he has to stop at Payless. Has to.
Right.
Because of the deals. It's
I
because
don't know
of
if
the
I
deals.
like this
There's a lot of
judgment
deals.
about Reed Ferguson that he's got to stop into.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right?
I
No,
think
like
he's got a fit, doesn't
like-
he? I think I've seen him.
yeah,
wear.
he's got to fit like he's definitely on a Skechers commercial. Like he
I don't know if
watches
I like
Matt
that.
Fitzpatrick and he's like, that guy's got style.
That might be a good comp. With the fit shirts,
All right. Yeah. Okay.
I can get
Just
down
saying.
with that.
I'm just saying.
Well, we'll get this at some point. I mean, I don't know when they'll report. So maybe it'll be in the afternoon. I'm not sure when they'll all get there. There's no practice today, so they don't. It's not like they have to be there by 8:30. Is Shane Buechele going to be the backup quarterback? By the way,
I think
They
so.
like him.
Kyle Allen's just here to play golf with Josh.
That's about it.
So
right. That's kind of the job of the backup
But right, exactly.
on this team.
yeah, that's a good point.
Does that earn you the spot over Buechele being maybe better?
They will both. They're going to play a lot in the preseason. They're
They're going to play the entire preseason.
We are going to see so much Kyle Allen. I don't know if you guys are prepared.
I think we're going to see more Shane Buechele. I mean, I guess they might split it evenly. And you might get that token fourth quarterback that gets signed for like 3 days to play the final preseason game, which that happens once in a while.
We need a good local story. Somebody from a local camp.
Yeah. I'm into that. When we come back, there are 6 players that were named as having a 99 in Madden. Josh Allen is one of them. Who were the other 5? And the dumbest Allen analysis that is made and saw it off the heels of him being a 99 overall, that's coming up next. I want to start today, though, with the one last big trade idea of the offseason. And whether there is any chops to this at all as an idea. But if you missed last night, Vita Vea has demanded a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Before we get into it on him, is football just totally different than all the other sports in this way? Doesn't it feel like in hockey, when a player demands for a trade, they always get traded? Like,
Yeah,
there's this
pretty much.
attitude taken by that GM. This is not just a Kevin Adams commentary. I think this is a lot of other teams in the league. Well, that guy doesn't want to be here. I don't want anybody on my team that doesn't want to be here. Get him out. We will move him now before it gets too uncomfortable. That happens in hockey so easily, where a guy asks out, and they often will get out. In football, this is how you take it. This is how I am at this point. Scarred by so many of these that I see star player wants a trade. Okay, so it's a contract negotiation, right? How often does a guy actually get dealt when they get asked for a trade in the NFL? Is it 10% of the time? They don't get moved almost ever, or sometimes it takes a long time. Like Myles Garrett demanded a trade. He did get traded. It just took a year.
But he also pulled back on it. So I don't know if we
Right.
could use Myles Garrett exactly because he just was like, actually, no, I'll stay.
Right,
Because you guys are going to give me the bag. And then 1 year later, he got traded.
Right.
But no, I mean, the NFL,
Why is it different? I wonder, maybe there is no good answer to it.
I think.
Because the agents know it's just a better negotiation tactic to get more money out of their team. Is that the only reason why Vita Vea wants out? Is there something I'm missing? Does he want to go to a Super Bowl contender? He is 31 years
he's
old.
31, yeah.
So that might be a part of it.
The Bills report to St. John Fisher today to begin training camp tomorrow. Coverage of training camp on WGR presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-million. Around the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that Buccaneers tackle Vita Vea has requested a trade. Ahem. The Vikings are signing linebacker Jamal Adams. Colts, they've placed wide receiver Alec Pierce following ankle surgery on the active PUP list. The Athletics' Matt Schneidman considers it unlikely Micah Parsons, dealing with the knee injury, returns before Week 4. The Athletic reports that the domestic violence investigation into Josh Jacobs' case is still open as well. In baseball, the Blue Jays, they beat the Nationals 3-2. The Yankees beat the White Sox 9-5. The Red Sox bested the A's 4-2. And the Mets beat the Braves 14-3. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
I can be honest, right? When I first seen it, it didn't grab me. And then when I put it on, and then I started to add like the blue shirt underneath and the right cleats and the right gloves, I said, all right, now I see the whole vision.
That's Deion Dawkins. See, even that though, like, I think the most positive things that are being said about the Bills alternate is kind of like that, where it's, you know, when the first time I saw it, again, when you really look at it at this angle, like, it's not so bad. Like, you're really efforting to be nice about it if you talk that way about the alternates that you like them. I was actually stunned that there were a few people, not, you know, a parade of them, but I saw Bulldog and Sal were two, that were the opposite of me, that liked the jersey some, and the helmet was a disaster, which I am the opposite on. But here's the thing. For people to really like the uniform set, you need them to like both, and I don't know anybody that likes both.
It's kind of called a set.
That's right. I could not believe that my old man likes that jersey.
The gray. He said he likes gray.
Yeah, good for
He
him.
does like gray.
I just cannot believe that.
No.
Yeah.
And another thing, like Dawkins saying he needed the entire ensemble to see the vision, all the blue. What are you buying off the shelf? Only the gray.
That is...
We are not buying the helmet.
Right.
So
Or the, blue undershirt and leg sleeves.
I mean, you could do that if you wanted to, but like,
Sure.
I don't know. Just
Yeah.
the gray by itself.
Right.
The jerseys people were buying and holding up yesterday, I was like, this does not look good at all.
There is what they'll look like on TV wearing it, and then there's also what is it as a merchandise item.
Right.
And I mean, that's part of the money grab thing that earlier we had a caller about. Like, if they had a gigantic miss here, they'll feel it. Because, why do you want an alternate jersey as a sports team? Sure, you might just want one, but you want to do it to sell more jerseys. And if people hate the jersey, then what? You kind of are missing out on the whole reason you did it. So I'm curious. I mean, I know a few people, I saw a video, bought it yesterday, but...
you did.
A couple.
Okay.
I mean, there's always going to be a couple.
There's always one, they say.
But I don't know. Is it the worst uniform in Buffalo sports history?
That's the question, because the Turd Burger exists, the Slug exists.
No, I don't think it is.
The name of the yellow Sabre jersey being what it is would imply that has to be the worst jersey that's ever existed.
There is a name circulating for these that is not FCC approved, though.
Okay. Don't know what that is. I guess I'll find out in the break.
Nickel blank. It's the same thing as the old establishment.
City, but...
okay, yeah, got it.
I see.
Is this one better than the Drought Navy uniforms?
Oh, man.
I feel like this jersey can't be that bad because gray is such a neutral thing that it's sort of like it can't be as bad as like the horrible yellow. Like it just can't be as offensive as some of the other ones to me. This one is bad and just doesn't look good, but it's not to me like offensive to look at. Like, wow, that really like hurts my eyes to even look at. Like, it just doesn't look like a Bills jersey to me. It looks like a Mac jersey, or
right?
Like,
Boise
whatever.
State looks like Boise State.
And whereas like there are some other jerseys in Buffalo sports history where it's like that is just
offensive.
Straight up ugly.
It's offensive,
and I don't necessarily feel like this is specifically ugly. It just really doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah, my eyes aren't offended.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be the point. You said it's not a Bills jersey. The navy blue jersey from the early 2000s, I would argue, is just like I think that's better than this. I think it's more of a Bills jersey, even though it is navy.
Would agree. More of a Bills jersey.
We did grow up with that as the jersey, so that would help.
Yeah.
So
It's like the slug. I don't hate the slug. It came after the goat head, and a lot of people despise it, you know?
That had a very negative reaction when it was first introduced.
Yeah. Is this not a similar thing, though? It's like the interpretation of a charging buffalo on the helmet versus the interpretation of a buffalo on the slug.
The difference there is they are not. They're technically not creating anything new to create the helmet. Right. They are zooming in on the logo. The slug was like one of the half-done mock-up logos.
You're right.
That they were choosing
between. That was
between.
an AI mock-up before AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the creator of the logo, I remember reading years ago, said, I don't know why they picked that one. That wasn't even the finished product, as you could tell by the yellow horn next to the white horn. The horns were different colors.
Classic.
Tough one.
But I kind of like the slug looking back, but I think that's just because they were good in them.
Right.
Also,
and that makes me feel, positive way. Like, it was a time when Briere and Drury and Pominville and these uniforms, I guess, could accomplish the same thing, but it'd be tougher because they wore the slug in the playoffs. They wore those in big, meaningful games, right? Like, Drury is wearing it when he scores Game 5, the tying goal against the Rangers, and Afinogenov slides on the ice wearing that uniform in overtime. The Bills are not going to wear these uniforms in the playoffs.
No.
No, that's right. Yeah,
they were
that's
the
right.
Sabres' primary uniforms, too.
Right.
These are just alternates a
So
couple times.
will these uniforms even have the opportunity to do the same thing that like the Goat Head and the Slug did, which were not popular, but they grew on people, and I think the biggest way that can happen is if you're successful wearing them.
It's got to be like a division clincher game that they win in them. Because they're only going to wear them once or twice.
Would they be wearing them late enough in the season, though, to even
I don't know,
have that opportunity?
I'm definitely calling your take on liking the slugs like the Brussels sprouts effect.
What is the Brussels sprouts?
Brussels sprouts have gone through a renaissance.
I see where
They
you're going
have?
here.
They used to be inedible.
I'm living in a
essentially.
Brussels sprouts renaissance. And I
They
didn't even know
used
it.
to be inedible. Like, you would never find them on a menu. And then they went through the greatest PR campaign of all time. Eventually, things that everybody hates,
Really?
you get enough time and you're like, you know what? That's not as bad as it was. And then you have a Brussels sprout and you're
You're
like,
telling
you know
me
what?
big Brussels sprouts is having a moment?
Yeah.
Right here?
If you
Big
look it
Brussels
up,
sprout?
I think they genetically modified Brussels sprouts to taste better.
Wait a minute.
I
they were
swear
inedible?
to God, they were basically inedible.
Well, they
because
still
they were
smell
so bitter.
inedible when you cook them.
Because they were
Sure.
so bitter. They went through like some kind of genetic restructuring to make them not bitter, and that's why people eat them now. But then like nobody ate Brussels sprouts. Like if you go to like the 80s and 90s, they're like the worst thing of all time. And now they're just like, put bacon on them and we're good to go.
Bacon, balsamic
Right,
glaze, have
right.
some fun with it. Yeah.
Did you watch like a documentary recently on Brussels sprouts?
You're putting bacon and balsamic on the slug jersey. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying, wow, this is actually that bad. When at the time, everyone is like, this is Armageddon. This is the end of the world.
Uh-huh.
And it's going through its Brussels sprouts phase.
It's really big lettuce right now.
It's big lettuce.
Lettuce is not having a moment.
No, lettuce is not. I don't think it's ever going to have a moment.
No.
But Brussels sprouts had a moment.
I'm more
Or
curious.
is having a
I'm more
moment.
curious at the source of this Brussels sprouts analogy and where all this knowledge about Brussels sprouts in the 80s and 90s came from. That's what I would really like to know.
I thought maybe people just figured out how to cook them better.
That could be it. I also, you're right. I didn't like the slug when it first came out. I saw a hat recently, like a couple weeks ago. It was the slug. It was updated. It had 2 white horns, and I'm looking at it. I'm like,
wow.
I got it.
That looks nice.
We
I
have
would buy
something
that.
called the modern Brussels sprouts flavor transformation. In 1990s, Dutch scientist Hans van Doorn identified a specific bitter chemical compound, and they changed the seeds, and that is why you have a, quote, sweet resurgence.
Missed
Brussels
opportunity.
sprouts.
Missed opportunity for the World Cup
Sweet
of Joe when the Netherlands was
resurgence.
playing. Could have had something in there about Brussels sprouts.
Hans
apparently.
van Doorn, thank you. Our
That
king.
guy.
Our king, Hans van Doorn.
They are on like every menu's starter column now. It's
They're-
pretty crazy.
Going through the Renaissance.
Hans didn't do it for me. I still can't stand
Every
Brussels
old
sprouts, so.
jersey you used to think sucks. When a new one comes out, you're like, it's like
No.
Brussels sprouts.
See, that's where everyone claims like, oh, people just like anything that's vintage. Wrong. The Bills should
I would agree with
never
that, yeah.
touch the drought uniforms again.
I wore mine
the
today.
yellow jersey never should be touched again. There are some you need to leave in the past. That was a miss. I'm not sure where I'm at on the slug for that. If they introduced an alternate,
white
but it's got to
slug-
be a more complete logo. They
The
need
white
to
slug
update it.
jersey is one of the worst things to happen to pro sports.
Really?
Straight up.
You think so?
I had a Tyler Myers white slug jersey. I threw it out when I was in a Toronto Maple Leafs game in Toronto.
Whoa.
Outside. Sabres lost like 6-1, and I was like, you know what?
This is over.
This jersey sucks, and this is the worst day of my sports life.
You
and
threw
I threw
a
it
jersey out,
I
leaving
threw
a
it out.
Sabres
And
game?
Tyler Myers. I also definitely ate one of the Phil Kessel cart hot dogs outside and spilled mustard on it, but
Okay, well, now we're getting to the
Now
real
we
truth
understand
as
what
to
really
why
but
that
it was an easy
thrown out.
throw out. It was an easy throw out. I was like, this jersey sucks.
I mean, if you spelled it on the logo, you wouldn't have even noticed.
You wouldn't have noticed.
Someone's
Or
going
if
to
I
call
spilled
in.
it, maybe I accidentally spilled it on one horn, and then it became.
just fixed it.
Listen, that horn being yellow is one of my biggest annoyances in Buffalo sports history.
You could argue
I might
it's
be
not
the
the horn.
only one. I to this day, why are the horns different colors?
You could argue it's not the horn, though. It could be.
What is it?
It
What
could be
could
the
it be?
fur or the tuft of the buffalo. Like,
Oh,
no,
flying back.
it is the shape of a horn. It's the horn.
It might not
What
be,
are
though.
we doing?
It
It's-
might be the tuft of the buffalo
No,
on the top.
I appreciate you trying to make an effort to explain it. There is no way to explain it.
We're going to get a call from some guy who has a mustard-stained Tyler Myers
Yeah.
jersey. He found it in a garbage can in Toronto.
We did not get.
in 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did not get to the Madden rating
that
there.
was
We will.
you.
Mike in Buffalo, if you hang on hold, we'll get you in quick before the break. And then we've got a couple of guests coming up, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on the next two teams in the Bills schedule, New England and Baltimore. Stay tuned.
I also think is it not, are we not just talking more symbolically than anything else? I think we've all sort of gotten to this point with Buffalo sports right now, where both of the teams are good again.
Mm-hmm.
Both of the teams are kind of
Like one step away.
make a move. I think is that what everybody is really wanting this offseason is something juicy, something that says we're trying to win a championship. I don't know that a defensive tackle, a nose tackle is sticking the flag in the ground saying
Right.
we're here to win a championship.
Right.
But I think at least represents a move. And I think this fan base right now is dying for a move for one of these franchises. And not for nothing, but I think the Bills really kind of are the team that have needed it the most. The Sabres are just entering this quote unquote window for themselves because they're still very young. The Bills quarterback just turned 30. So, like, I know that the window's open as long as Josh Allen's good. I don't know. I'm not going to take for granted how long he's good for. You know, Daniel Jones just tore his Achilles tendon. God forbid something like that happens to Josh Allen at this point in his career, and you're waiting around hoping that you can extend this window out 2 years down the line. I don't care about this window being open till 2034. I care about at some point winning a Super Bowl. I just don't know that Vita Vea is the player that signifies or is the, final piece or at least the thing representing we're finally all in. And we have not seen Brandon Beane push his chips to the center of the table. Part of firing Sean McDermott is some of that, but there has not been the personnel move that has been like, I think Jeremy tweeted out, like, we're waiting for a move from the general manager so he deserves to put the sunglasses back on. Because it's been a while.
It's been a long
while.
time. I really think it's been since Vaughn.
Even like the
And that
good
is 5 years ago. Sports Center is on one tonight or today. So far,
Today?
I've looked up. Right in general, but twice I've looked up during the show, and the two things I've seen. One is like they're talking about Conor McGregor
Squirrel
returning
cam
from like a 6-second fight where his ACL blew out, and the other one was best squirrel moments in sports. It was a pretty long compilation, which I was not familiar that we had this many squirrel moments in sports. Did Kevin Harlan call one running into the end zone? Was one of them? It was hard to tell. It sounds down in here. When we come back, Alex Barth out in Boston's going to join us. We're going through the Bills' schedule. Week 4, right? Just making sure their bye's not before that. Yeah, week 4, the Bills will host the New England Patriots. That is a 1:00 game on October 4th at home. That should be peak fall weather. Alex joins us next on camp for New England. A.J. Brown on the field. Christian Gonzalez, contract stuff. A lot to get to on the Patriots next here on WGR.
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Gorfel, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
give Belknap a ring.
The reason I wanted to get into it on him isn't just because, Bills, they should be in on every star player that is mentioned or that is named as someone that could be dealt. But I don't know if you were on Twitter last night when he asked for the trade, but a parade of analysts, Steve Palazzolo was the first one I saw, and there were many others, that were lining up to be like, this is the perfect person to put in the Bills defense.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's because you're getting a nose tackle that can also rush the passer, right? Big guy that's going to eat up blocks, and many of those guys don't also present a threat to get to the quarterback. And the Bills never really, let's look back on their offseason. All the things that they did they ever really do anything at nose tackle?
No.
They just said, that Deion Walker was kind of going to transition to being that, and that Dwayne Carter was going to transition to being that. I guess I love the player. It's hard not to love the player. He's a great player. Does it feel too late for the Bills to make a move of this magnitude?
In the season?
Camp starts tomorrow.
No, I don't think it's too late.
They don't have a lot of cap space. I'll pull up the exact number that they have. You don't think it's too late? They could do this move today if they thought that it made sense?
I think the Bills traded Sammy Watkins on August 11th. Anything can happen.
After a preseason game.
Yes, anything can happen. So I would say absolutely not too late. I think I kind of agree with I would say a large majority of NFL Twitter that it makes the most sense of any team because of the fit and the need. They're transitioning to a 3-4. He is the 3-4 nose tackle.
It's him and Dexter Lawrence.
When you think of true nose tackles, Vita Vea's him and Tony Siragusa are your two. Just perfect aesthetic body type. Mean streak, but I think the only thing that I would think of is 31 at this point. What's that contract look like? The Bills, they still have the Deion Dawkins lever they have not pulled.
Right. Which I think they, in this case,
that's what they would have to do.
If they wanted to do this, they would, I think, have to do that.
They would have to do it. And the thing is, too, I don't know how much it would cost. I don't think it costs a first-round pick at this point in the game. He wants out.
Right.
What are you trading, a second-round pick?
for a 31-year-old that's on the final year of his contract at a position that is not really a premium position.
No. And
I don't think it should cost a first-round pick.
What do you
The Bills report to St. John Fisher today to begin training camp tomorrow. Coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash? You've got to call the Barnes Firm. 1-800-8-million. Around the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that Buccaneers tackle Vita Vea has requested a trade. The Vikings, they're signing linebacker Jamal Adams. The Colts place wide receiver Alec Pierce following ankle surgery on the active PUP list. And the Athletics' Matt Schneidman considers it unlikely Micah Parsons, dealing with the knee injury, returns before Week 4. And the Athletic also reports the domestic violence investigation into Josh Jacobs is still open. In baseball, the Blue Jays, they beat the Nationals 3-2. The Yankees beat the White Sox 9-5. The Red Sox bested the A's 4-2. And the Mets, they beat the Braves 14-3. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Makes a lot of sense for the Patriots. Drake May throws about as good a deep ball as anybody at his age, especially in the game. And I've heard GMs say this: when you play in a Super Bowl, when you win a Super Bowl, whatever it is, you have to stay aggressive. You can't be complacent. This is them being aggressive. This is them trying to cash in on a rookie window. And Mike Vrabel has that old thing back. AJ is going to be on his best behavior. That's what makes this trade great. For a year, at least, he's going to be on his best behavior.
And it's Chris Long on A.J. Brown and the Patriots. Already have seen clips, highlights of him going one-on-one with Christian Gonzalez. So it's underway in New England. The Bills report today they will be on the field for training camp tomorrow at St. John Fisher. Good morning, it's Jeremy and Joe. Jeremy is off today. Nate Geary is in with us. Going to the Western Hotline, we're going through the Bills' schedule team by team. Week 4, the Bills will host New England, a 1 o'clock Sunday game at New Highmark Stadium on Sunday, October 4th. Alex Barth joins us now on the Western Hotline from 98.5 Sports Hub in Boston. Alex, thanks for getting up with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Happy start to camp to you.
To you as well. Are Patriots fans offended? Is it bulletin board material that the Bills are favored in the betting odds to win the division right now? Not that it's like a massive favorite, but is that a bulletin board thing there?
Yeah, I think people are certainly surprised. At the very least, the Patriots won the division last year. I would say between the two off seasons, it feels like the Patriots added more. So it really gets to this whole point that a lot of the national narrative, I think, about the Patriots has been to expect some regression, which, look, are they going to win 14 games again this year? Probably not. That's an incredibly high bar to hit. But even if you regress by 3 wins, which is significant in the NFL, that's 11. That still should be enough to win the division. So I think it just ties into this bigger picture that people view around here, view the national narrative as leaning too much on this idea that the team's going to regress.
What about the idea, though, Alex, that it was maybe Drake May's performance throughout the playoffs that have maybe soured people's high expectations or what his season was going into the playoffs? Because I think this is just the NFL, right? It's a what have you done for me lately league. I think a lot of people forgot about the regular season and frankly, the week in and week out performances Drake May had because of 4 bad games in a playoff route.
I do think that's part of it as well. That's a good point. And it is, I love that phrase. It's a what have you done for me lately league. And he obviously didn't leave people with great lasting memory in the playoffs and especially in the Super Bowl. And I think there's some questions to be answered there when people, to your point, I think some people put that on, well, what's he going to look like in September? He's proven he can tear it up in the regular season. He will have questions to answer come January, and the Patriots should still be playing come January. I think that's the baseline expectation. But that is probably part of it, too, that people looked at what happened in the playoffs when he also had a banged-up offensive line, some banged-up receivers, and say, well, okay, no, that's who he really is. I think it's taking out a lot of context when you look at everything he did in the regular season and then the playoff sample size and say he's 100% the guy we saw in the playoffs, because I don't believe that's the case for a number of reasons.
Yeah, I want to get to a bunch of storylines from camp, obviously, but while we're on, that expectation and explaining it, a lot of it too was the schedule, right? New England's regular season schedule last year. And we've looked a lot at that, Alex, this offseason, that the Bills, they might get the benefit of the second place schedule. New England, now they've got to play the number 1 schedule. And it is definitely more difficult than what they faced last year. But I'm looking at Warren Sharp's numbers on it, and he's got New England having the 12th easiest schedule in the league and the Bills having the 14th easiest schedule in the league. It's not really that different, and neither team's looking at this giant, massive gauntlet where, they're going to have to play all the best teams in the league. I'm looking at New England's schedule right now. I don't know how much you've stared at it to know, stretches, but they never really have, 4 games in a row against all great teams. It's always an easy team mixed in there somewhere.
And I think the thing about the easy schedule or whatever, when you're in the same division, you're talking about 3 games.
Right.
That's the difference in the schedule. You're talking about 3 games, and then maybe, okay, you face this team at home where the other team has to go and face that team on the road or whatever. The thing about the Patriots schedule last year that I think a lot of people missed is when we talk about it being an easy schedule, they played a number of teams that finished with bad records but had good defenses, or at least serviceable defenses, right? You look at Cleveland or Atlanta or New Orleans, teams that finished in the top half of the league defensively but could barely scrape together. So year to year, the level of defenses they're going to face, and this goes to the point about May, the level of defenses they're going to face is relatively similar. It's the Patriots' defense that is going to get a slap in the face with the schedule in terms of it being a much harder season. Now, they've made some additions, and I think that they've bolstered the unit accordingly, but the Patriots' easy schedule thing last year was really about how easy it was on the Patriots' defense. The Patriots' offense had to play some good defenses that just had bad records. Now, that definitely takes the pressure off of Drake May, right? Some of the quarterbacks they faced last year, you don't have to worry about getting in a shootout. You don't have to worry about going punch for punch. You can play a little safer, whereas some of the quarterbacks they'll face this year, that won't always be an option. But that's what the schedule, at least for the Patriots last year, came down to me, and that's where the change is. They're just going to face a lot tougher offenses. I think for May and the Patriots offense, it's a little tougher, but relatively similar.
Alex Barth with us. So their offseason was, the highlights were absolutely A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs, adding at that position. But if their defense is more tested this year, what did they do this offseason that should have them performing better? I mean, they played fine last year, right? Again, it was more about the test.
Right.
But how aggressively did they pursue upgrades on defense this offseason?
So the big one for me, they made a couple, and some of them we'll have to see how they hit. My favorite signing of the offseason, I guess A.J. Brown was a trade. Favorite signing of the offseason was Kevin Byard at safety. The one thing I thought the Patriots defense lacked in last year. They were really good at stopping opposing offenses from doing anything, but they didn't make a ton of plays of their own. They didn't force a lot of turnovers. They go out and get Kevin Byard, a ball-hawking safety who can play on the back end, create turnovers, create plays on his own. I think that just having the ability to do that and having a guy like that back there will allow Christian Gonzalez, will allow Carlton Davis at corner to play a little more free, play a little more aggressive. I think that was a huge addition. In the draft, in the second round, they went out and they took Gabe Akis, who I thought was one of the more NFL-ready rushers this year. I do worry about their pass rush, especially with Harold Landry banged up. Now, Akis, I'm sure you guys have seen this at least a little bit. There was some issues with his medical, didn't get his contract signed until yesterday, still isn't on the field. So that looked like a good addition at the time. Now we will see. And then I think they got more athletic at linebacker. They had some trouble covering tight ends and running backs last year, and adding some rotational players, a guy like a KJ Britt, I think should help with that.
What about on offense, Alex? Especially in the backfield at running back, you saw last year. I think there was a lot of fantasy owners and managers around the fantasy football realm who were very big on what Travion Henderson was going to do in this Patriots offense, and Ramondre Stevenson really kind of remained the quote-unquote bell cow, and it looked like he had sort of gotten in the Vrabel doghouse at times last season. Is it a fresh start this year, or are we going to see a lot of what we saw last year, which is running back by committee and maybe no one running back in that room getting enough carries to really warrant maybe the hype that was kind of going around early last year on Henderson?
Yeah, I would say by committee, and it's not just about last year. Josh McDaniels has been doing this for 20-something years now, and he's never really had a feature back. He prioritizes, keeping running backs fresh, and I think especially with a guy like Travion Henderson, but we've seen it Ramondre Stevenson's career too, you're going to get more out of both of those guys with less touches. They can get kind of worn down and become less effective as the season goes on. The issue with Henderson last year, to play running back on passing downs in Josh McDaniels' offense, you have to be able to block. And he became a little bit of a liability in pass protection at times. So that put a cap on how much he could really be on the field. That's going to be a big thing for him in this camp, is showing that he's improved as a pass protector, something he said he worked on this offseason, so he can get on the field in more of those situations, because he's more than a capable pass catcher and a great screen back. But again, he has to be able to block to get some of those reps. So we'll see what that looks like. We'll be able to tell when the pads come on. That first day is going to be Thursday. But even still, it's Josh McDaniels. He always is kind of a boogeyman for fantasy owners. I still expect it to be not just running back by committee, but also kind of hunting matchups in week to week. One week might be a Ramondre Stevenson week. The next week might be a Travion Henderson week. That's just how Josh McDaniels has always operated.
Yeah, I like the fantasy angle on this, because Henderson is a really exciting player. Like, I've listened to shows on the fantasy part of it that have talked about him like this guy's got Jahmyr Gibbs capabilities, just because we saw so many big runs last year and his speed. I mean, he didn't even get to 200 carries and he was almost at 1,000 yards. But it's McDaniels, and it's also, I guess, is it just the blocking? Is there any other holes to his game that you see that would prevent him from being a star running back in the league, or is it just kind of the blocking with him?
So it's weird. I thought last year his patience and vision could have been better. I thought there were too many times where he was just running into blockers and things like that. But I also thought that was one of his best traits at Ohio State, was his vision and his patience. So that was a hole last year, but it's something I expect him to turn around. I guess another hole, if you could phrase it that way with him, and this goes to why I don't think he'll ever be a feature. When he was at Ohio State as a freshman, he was excellent in kind of a spellback role. They tried to put the full run game on him as a sophomore and a junior, and his production dropped off. As a senior, they go out, they get Quinshon Judkins in the portal, and he suddenly pops off again. I think he had like the same number of yards from scrimmage on like 50 less touches or something like that. So he's a guy that does more with less. You don't want him to have 250 touches in a season. You'll get more out of him in terms of that explosiveness and that big playability with 150 to 175 touches. And then you pair him with Ramondre Stevenson, who is more of a body blow guy, and it just sort of makes sense. So the fantasy element of it is you're going to have games where he has 10 carries for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns, But for every one of those, you're going to have 3 or 4 where he has 10 carries for 13 yards. And so if you want to pick him up in fantasy, by all means, but you get to ride the roller coaster of trying to figure out which of those weeks are going to be the weeks where he goes off.
Yeah, I do want to move on to other things, but I'm thinking a lot about James Cook as you're saying that, and how running backs can just be very hard to predict sometimes. James Cook was a backup all throughout college at Georgia and had 500 yards and was in Sean McDermott's doghouse as a rookie. And he was talked about the same way, like spell back, change of pace guy, and he's just gone on and had like the most rushing yards in football in the last 3 years or close to it. So you never know. And he's had blocking problems his whole career also. So it can happen. On the receiver position, because that was a big ticket item for them to address this offseason with both Dobbs and A.J. Brown. Brown, so far through camp, it's only a couple of days. Is there any question about like the knee condition that he has? And I guess the attitude part, like we played a Chris Long clip coming in about how typically wherever he is, no problems arise in year 1 or even sometimes year 2. So is everything kind of going the way the Patriots want, I guess, so far with him?
Yeah, I would say all going as planned. Vrabel's actually asked about his knee yesterday. Didn't say anything was wrong. Vrabel's been, and they did this last year, some of those older players, they're very careful about managing in camp. Morgan Moses really only practices like every other day. Harold Landry last year was a guy that got some veteran rest. He's banged up now, but we even saw Reggie Gilliam get a Veterans Day the other day. Like, he's very cognizant, and their training staff is very cognizant of making sure the guys that need the rest get the rest. So I would imagine A.J. Brown is going to be in that program, and this is throughout the season too. So I would imagine A.J. Brown's going to be in that program, and it worked well for him last year. They had, I believe, the fewest game lost injury in the NFL. In terms of the attitude thing, I mean, he hasn't stopped smiling since he got here and grew up a Patriots fan, said at his introductory press conference back in June, I know it ain't heaven, but it's close to it. And he was asked about that yesterday and said it still feels that way. So he's still on cloud 9. You want to call it a honeymoon period, I guess that's fair. But he literally has not stopped smiling ear to ear the entire time that he's been out there in front of the media.
You said he grew up a Patriots fan, and my fraud meter went off immediately. But then I remembered that everybody around the country, not everybody, a lot of people grew up around the country Patriots fans. And you'll see pictures of them as a kid wearing a Brady jersey because now the guys in the league grew up watching Brady and the Belichick teams.
This is a real thing. There was a story after that 2019 draft where the Patriots didn't take him. He thought they were going to take him. He came for a visit, and he broke down crying at his draft party, and he just became disinterested. And he shared this with us last month. When the Titans drafted him, he told Vrabel he wanted to be a Patriot. And the Patriots took N'Keal Harry instead of him, who obviously turned out to be a bust. So this had been a famous thing in New England for a while that he wanted to be here. He was probably the right pick. This wasn't just a new player trying to butter up to the fans. This has been a thing really for years with him.
Well, let me ask you this, because I was listening to Benjamin Solak, who, let's just acknowledge, Ben is a big Eagles fan, so it's not like it's coming from, the most unbiased place. But I thought he made a good point on ESPN yesterday talking about, especially with Drake May and his willingness, at least last year, and maybe that's partially by design by the personnel they had, but spread the football around a lot. And, they've got Hunter Henry, and they've invested draft capital in wide receivers. And Pop Douglas is a nice player and is probably going to get a lot of looks out of the slot. And you've got Kyle Williams, who down the field is going to probably still be a viable threat for them. With all of that, I guess my question will be is, what is the patience level you suspect A.J. Brown has when this offense might not go fully through him, considering the best part of A.J. Brown's game, Alex, is going to be those back shoulders, those go up and get it 50-50 balls that truly aren't 50-50 balls when you're throwing to a player like A.J. Brown.
So I'll just say this first, and I like Kyle Williams. The big story at camp yesterday, he's the wide receiver 7 right now.
Wow.
So he's got a ways to go, and I think that highlights it. Their belief in A.J. Brown, and also Kayshon Boutte, who obviously had a good year last year. Some of the report to the other part of the question, some of the reporting out of Philly about A.J. Brown and his frustrations, it was not a volume issue. it was with the type of targets. To your point, he wants those downfield balls, those 50-50 balls, the back shoulder. And as that offense developed around Jalen Hurts, it was a lot of slants, drags, quick in cuts, yards after catch routes, and that's just not what he wants to be doing. So just based on that, and I wasn't in Philly, people there can probably talk to this better than me, but the way it read was it wasn't the overall volume. He still had 100-something targets last year. It was the kind of targets he was getting. And I wonder if he'd be happier, if he's going to end up being happier with 80 balls thrown to him down the field than 100 thrown to him within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, right? And to that, I would say you have a bunch of guys in Romeo Doubs and Hunter Henry and Pop Douglas that can be chain movers. If you're not throwing the ball to A.J. Brown down the field, I'll be pissed off with him. That's kind of the whole reason he's here, right? So I said this last year with Diggs, actually. They brought Diggs in, and people said, is he going to be happy? Is he going to get enough targets? And I said, if you look at the rest of this wide receiver room, if Stephon Diggs isn't getting 8 targets a game, he should be pissed. Because that kind of receiver with this group, that is what he should be getting. And I kind of feel the same way about A.J. Brown. The stuff that he was reportedly upset about in Philly should be fixed here just by the nature of the offense. So we'll see ultimately if that's the way it plays out, and maybe that's the way the narrative was spun because, you know, whoever was saying that from his side didn't want it to seem like he was unhappy with his targets with 100 of them on the season. But I think he just wants to put the ball down the field. And if they're throwing him the ball short with the other receivers they have, again, I'll be pissed with him. I'll understand it because he should be. You have the best deep ball thrower in the NFL statistically last year. You go out, you get a guy that excels at the deep ball. That should be what he's doing. That should be what he's majoring in this offense.
Yeah. Last year, he had the second lowest average depth of target of his career, and it was 0.1 away from being the lowest of his career. So you would think that would go back up in that offense. Last thing for you, Alex, and then we'll let you go. The Christian Gonzalez contract, it's not quite a dispute, right? I mean, with the owner talking about it this week, but is that a deal you would expect the Patriots to get done before the season? And it's also, right, not like they have to do it now because they have the 5th-year option still, which is next year?
Right. So he's still under contract for 2 years, under team control for 2 years, plus they would have the franchise tag if they want to use it. I think it gets done. A lot of the reporting has been that he's going to sign second after Devin Witherspoon, who is that same draft class, who's also expecting a record-breaking contract. We saw this last year with Sauce Gardner and Stingley. So I think that it is going to get done eventually, but I do think he's going to sign after Stingley. I don't think it's a dispute or anything, to your point, in large part because Gonzalez has been a full participant in camp. He did kind of hold in the spring. He didn't take part in OTAs. He was at minicamp but was not really involved. But he's been a full participant here this summer, which is encouraging. He's going to speak today, so that should add some context to it. But I do think they get that done, if not during training camp, like early in the season. Once Witherspoon signs, I think the Gonzalez deal comes together relatively quickly.
Alex Barth with us. The Patriots open the season on a Wednesday, so nobody miss it. Check your fantasy lineups because of the Australia game on a Thursday. Thanks, Alex, for joining us. Appreciate it, and maybe we'll chat again closer to the Bills matchup in October.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Alex Barth, 98.5. Sports Hub in Boston. New England opens the season in Seattle. You want to pick the Patriots' schedule real quick?
Yes.
Let's have Nate pick the Patriots.
Okay.
Because their schedule is harder. But it's like middle of the pack this year. All right, week 1, they're at the Seahawks.
Lose.
Week 2, hosting Pittsburgh.
Win.
Okay. Week 3 at Jacksonville. This is gonna tell us a lot about what he thinks about the Jags too. They're still saying Travis Hunter's gonna play both sides of the ball. By the way,
I'm saying win.
They're gonna beat the Jags. Week 4 at the Bills.
Lose.
I mean, you gotta pick. You gotta
Lose.
pick a loss there. That is 2-2. Home Raiders.
Win.
Who's starting at quarterback for the Raiders in that game?
Kirk Cousins.
Still?
Yep.
Home Jets.
Win.
At Bears.
Lose.
They have a late bye, by the way, if you've noticed. We're not at their bye yet. 4-3. At the Dolphins. I'm just going to mark that in as a win. Home Packers.
Win.
Win over the Packers?
Win over the Packers.
In 7, 9:30 a.m. I was about to say in England, but it really could be anywhere, right?
Could be on any continent. Yeah.
Take a guess. What country is it in? Where is Patriots Lions? What country?
Russia. It's not
I
Australia,
think you
is
picked
it?
the least likely country. It's in Munich.
Ah, okay. Beautiful Munich.
All right, so Munich for Patriots Lions. Patriots lose a home game this year then to a Europe game.
I'm going to take the Lions.
Love it. Bye week. Off a bye at the Chargers and their rambunctious fan base.
Win.
I'm sorry. Why did I need to take a shot at
You
the
did.
Chargers fans?
Yeah, you're.
I'm sorry. Chargers.
Sorry, Charger fan.
Yeah, 7-4. Home Bills.
Win.
You got a split against the Bills.
Home and home.
Home Vikings. Kyler Murray.
Win.
At the Chiefs. Monday Night Football.
Lose.
Didn't you just yesterday tell me
Yes.
the Chiefs roster is
Fine.
terrible?
It's fine. Lose.
Okay. At the Jets.
Win.
They're going to sweep the Jets. Home Denver.
Lose.
And finally, home Dolphins.
Win. What is that?
11-6.
Which Alex said he thinks is good enough to win the division. I do not. I do not think 11 wins the division. I think it's 12-13.
You also could come down to tiebreakers here, where the Bills are also at 11 and they split, so we're going down to whatever third is again, which we can refresh later.
I think 12 is the minimum to win the division.
Do you think they're pretty good?
I don't think they're bad.
I don't think they'll ever be bad as long as Drake May is their quarterback.
Would agree.
They are going to have a lesser version probably of what the Bills have, which for the Bills, I feel like they walk into every season with 10 wins. New England, I feel like they probably walk into every season with 8 wins with Drake May.
I think
it will be hard for them to ever be truly bad when he's their quarterback.
I still think their offensive line's not that good.
Yeah, they added Elijah Vera Tucker, but the rest of it's the same.
I think Kevin Byard was good 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if the Gonzalez contract situation turns into a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. They're taking care of somebody else first.
Are they going to trade Butte? We should have asked.
You're right. Because there have been a lot of trade rumors about him just because he's the 4th receiver now.
And you can't cut Kyle Williams.
Well, if he's 7th right now, I guess they could. But often you wouldn't trade a 3rd-round receiver that had the rookie year he did.
But I think Butte's going to be a hard. They have no leverage in a Butte trade.
Williams only did catch 10 passes last year.
Right.
But 20 yards a catch downfield. When we come back, we'll get to those Madden ratings. Allen being a 99. Who else? Then we'll talk with Kevin Oestreicher at 9 on the Ravens. That's coming up here on WGR.
I also think are we not just talking more symbolically than anything else? I think we've all sort of gotten to this point with Buffalo sports right now, where both of the teams are good again.
Mm-hmm.
Both of the teams are kind of
like one step away.
Make a move. I think is that what everybody is really wanting this offseason is something juicy, something that says we're trying to win a championship. I don't know that a defensive tackle, a nose tackle, is sticking the flag in the ground saying we're here to win a championship.
Right.
But I think at least represents a move, and I think this fan base right now is dying for a move for one of these franchises. And not for nothing, but I think the Bills really kind of are the team that have needed it the most. The Sabres are just entering this quote-unquote window for themselves because they're still very young. The Bills quarterback just turned 30.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know that the window's open as long as Josh Allen's good. I don't know. I'm not going to take for granted how long he's good for. You know, Daniel Jones just tore his Achilles tendon. God forbid something like that happens to Josh Allen at this point in his career, and you're waiting around hoping that you can extend this window out 2 years down the line. I don't care about this window being open till 2034. I care about at some point winning a Super Bowl. I just don't know that Vita Vea is the player that signifies or is the, final piece, or at least the thing representing we're finally all in. And we have not seen Brandon Beane push his chips to the center of the table. Part of firing Sean McDermott is some of that, but there has not been the personnel move that has been like, I think Jeremy tweeted out, like, we're waiting for a move from the general manager so he deserves to put the sunglasses back on. Because it's been a while.
It's been a long time. I really think it's been since Vaughn.
Even like
that is 5 years ago.
The Bills report to St. John Fisher today to begin training camp tomorrow. Coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. Buy Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash? You've got to call the Barnes Firm. 1-800-8-million. Around the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that the Buccaneers tackle Vita Vea has requested a trade. The Vikings are signing linebacker Jamal Adams. The Colts, they place wide receiver Alec Pierce following ankle surgery on the active and PUP list. The Athletics' Matt Schneidman considers it unlikely Micah Parsons, dealing with a knee injury, returns before Week 4. And The Athletic also reports that the domestic violence investigation into Josh Jacobs is still open. In baseball, the Blue Jays, they beat the Nationals 3-2. The Yankees beat the White Sox 9-5. The Red Sox bested the A's 4-2. And the Mets beat the Braves 14-3. Listen to Jeremy and Joe all week for your chance to win tickets to Blues Traveler, Gin Blossoms, and Spin Doctors at the Erie County Fair on August 18th. Tickets are on sale now at ecfair.org, and don't forget your concert ticket includes your admission into the fair the day of the show. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
B caller 5 right now. It's 716-221-4WGR. Chance to win a pair of tickets to Blues Travelers, Gin Blossoms, and Spin Doctors on August 18th at the Erie County Fair. Tickets are on sale now at ecfair.org. My phone is blowing up. I think I'm caught in some spam texting. I'm in some giant group chat where everyone is texting exit. And my phone is blowing up from it. That's not good.
Probably not.
I don't think that's good.
I'm not an expert, but that seems bad.
Do you delete contacts from your phone ever?
No.
Never?
No, I just don't add them is my problem.
I almost accidentally called somebody yesterday. I'm like, I have not talked to that person in 20 years. But their number is in my phone still.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of contacts. Sometimes I have to add context.
Yeah, okay.
Under notes or like the company.
But you'll never delete, you'll never go through I haven't talked to this person in 15 years. Let me just delete it. You keep them all?
No, what I should do is save more people's numbers. I don't save them. And then I don't know who they are. And then I have to scroll up and hope that at one point
there's
they
a history.
said their name. Yeah.
Right. 803-0550 is the phone number. Training camp today, the Bills report, and then tomorrow they will be on the field. And we'll talk some Ravens coming up at 9 o'clock. The Madden 99 Club was released last night, and Josh Allen was a 99 overall for the second consecutive year, which shouldn't really come as a huge surprise to anybody. Sure. Who are the other 5 players that made the 99 Club?
Well, you got Garrett.
Garrett is one of them.
Stafford
is another one of them. JSN.
Mm-hmm.
Trey McBride. And
that's right, yeah.
And Jamar Chase are the other 99s. And
I'm good with Trey McBride.
You alerted me to an analysis that I went and found this morning on Twitter about Allen. And, this is, to me, the dumbest Allen take there is. And it gets said a lot. And it requires some context to understand why it doesn't matter at all. But anybody that brings up Allen's interceptions to being a problem during his NFL career, it's like an immediate unfollow.
I would agree.
Put him to the side. Just you do not understand him as a player, and you also don't understand the value of turnovers in the league. You think they are worth way more than they actually are, especially the kind that Allen has. There was a chart that was going around the other day. Josh Allen, a lot of picks, right? 94 interceptions in his NFL career. He had a year with 18 not too long ago, a couple seasons ago. But whenever that number gets shown, Allen's got the most picks in the league in this amount of time, interceptions really need to be treated differently. Allen and the arm punt thing, which sometimes gets made fun of, it's true. It is real. And there's a chart to back it up that was sent out the other day that EPA per play, EPA per interception by quarterback, factoring in where the pick was, what the situation was. Was it 3rd and 15? Was it 4th and 6? Where did the ball go? Was it a pick 6? Knock on wood, Allen's got the longest streak in the NFL going of not throwing a pick 6, and he's approaching the NFL record. He also often just chucks the ball deep. When it's a situation, when it's 3rd down, 4th down, and, we're just going to punt anyway, or it's going to be a turnover on downs anyway, let me just throw it up. He does that as much as anybody in the league. Of all quarterbacks since 2018, he has the least amount of EPA loss per interception. So, okay, yeah, 94 interceptions is a lot. But does it ever really cost them when he's never putting you in harm's way with the situation? Very rarely he is. Joe Burrow has 51 interceptions. He's lost more EPA on those 51 interceptions than Josh Allen has lost on his 94. Because Joe Burrow, when he throws a pick 6 to Christian Benford, that play on its own is worth like 7 interceptions that Allen makes.
That's right.
Thrown 30 yards down the field.
In terms of value, yeah.
So I feel like there are some stats that over time you learn, okay, not as meaningful as you thought. I feel like sacks has become this a little bit. Sacks is not unusable. I mean, it definitely is. I mean, and the league uses it, right? They use sacks in like contract escalators and stuff and bonuses. But we've kind of learned that pressures might tell you a little bit more about how consistent the player is. Because guys have lucky sack seasons where they just run into sacks 6 times and like, that guy had 9 sacks this year. Like, yeah, but none of them were really him. Right. It was another guy chasing the quarterback into him. I feel like we should do that with picks. That, okay, just having 5 more interceptions than the other guy is not necessarily worse. Where were the picks? I want to ask that now about every quarterback. This guy threw 15 picks, this guy threw 10. Where were the 15 picks? Because where Allen throws his picks don't really hurt the Bills all that much. Versus guys like, who else is on this chart that is really bad? Burrow's the worst. Russell Wilson. Actually, Matthew Stafford is really high on this list. Darnold, Winston.
I will say, too, in fairness, the thing that, sparked this conversation, there was a lot of, points. It was the show before us when we get on CBS Sports Radio.
Yeah.
And, in one breath, it's Josh Allen shouldn't be a 99 because of the interceptions that he threw single-handedly, to his point, single-handedly cost them their game against Denver, and then threw Sean McDermott under the bus for Josh Allen's continued failures in the playoffs, while also saying the big reason he hates the Bills and Josh Allen is because he's a Commanders fan, and a few years ago in a Commanders game, Josh Allen went absolutely nuclear, had 5 touchdowns on him. So I was like, so in one way you're saying you hate him because he had 5 touchdowns against your team in that Sam Howell game. I don't know if you remember.
In the regular season when your team wasn't even good.
When they had Sam Howell.
It was weird energy.
It was just such a weird, I was listening to it and I'm like, I'm having a tough time following along here. Because I'm all good if you want to hate on Bills. I mean, the Bills are, if you're not from the market, if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, you're sick and tired of hearing that Josh Allen's better than your quarterback. I get why every Ravens fan has a gripe to not like the Bills or Bills fans. You're right. I mean, every fan. It's the same way I feel like most Bills fans hate the Chiefs because they have to hear about everybody tell them how great their quarterback is compared to the quarterback you have. I get it. But a Commanders fan going on a rant about Sam Howell is just it was very weird to me.
Yeah, Allen in there. The Denver game was also the first of its kind, really.
Agree.
Allen had, in that game, 4 turnovers, and they lost by 3 in overtime. In the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the 6 playoff losses of Allen's career, before the Denver game, you know how many turnovers he had? Total, he had 2.
Yeah.
In 6 playoff losses before the Denver game, he had 2 turnovers.
And his defense at that point had already been giving up about 30 points a game in the playoffs.
Right. So, that point of the playoff failures of Josh Allen, spare me the turnovers being a problem when,
would agree.
For the first time in his career, their season ended with him having more than 1 turnover in a playoff game. And still, by the way, put the ball in his receiver's hands to win the game in overtime.
Yes.
So, you're really grasping at straws at this point if you are trying to find a reason why Allen is not one of the best quarterbacks in football. And I feel like often the straw people grab is the turnover straw. And I think it's dead wrong. to indict him on anything that relates to turnovers being some thing the Bills can't overcome. I don't think it's really been true at all of his career. 803-0550 is the phone number. We'll talk Ravens coming up at 9 o'clock. And then the Bills will, at some point, I think, release some sort of video of players arriving. I'm not sure when they arrive, but today is the day they report. Tomorrow they'll be on the field for the first practice of the season at training camp. When we come back, I want to update our poll. What's the worst uniform in Buffalo sports history? We got 4 options. There's
a bit of a runaway
votes.
situation happening.
Yeah, there's an easy number one. We'll tell you what that is next. I want to start today, though, with the one last big trade idea of the offseason, and whether there is any chops to this at all as an idea. But if you missed last night, Vita Vea has demanded a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Before we get into it on him, is football just totally different than all the other sports in this way? Doesn't it feel like in hockey, when a player demands for a trade, they always get traded? There's this attitude taken by that GM. This is not just a Kevin Adams commentary. I think this is a lot of other teams in the league. Well, that guy doesn't want to be here. I don't want anybody on my team that doesn't want to be here. Get him out. We'll move him now before it gets too uncomfortable. That happens in hockey so easily, where a guy asks out, and they often will get out. In football, this is how you take it. This is how I am at this point. Scarred by so many of these that I see star player wants a trade. Okay, so it's a contract negotiation, right? How often does a guy actually get dealt when they get asked for a trade in the NFL? Is it 10% of the time? They don't get moved almost ever, or sometimes it takes a long time. Like Myles Garrett demanded a trade. He did get traded. It just took a year.
But he also pulled back on it. So I don't know if we
Right.
could use Myles Garrett exactly, because he just was like, actually, no, I'll stay.
Right,
Because you guys are going to give me the bag. And then 1 year later, he got traded.
Right.
But no, I mean, the NFL.
Why is it different? I wonder, maybe there is no good answer to it.
I think.
Because the agents know it's just a better negotiation tactic to get more money out of their team. Is that the only reason why Vita Vea wants out? Is there something I'm missing? Does he want to go to a Super Bowl contender? He is 31 years old.
31, yeah.
So that might be a part of it. Notice a rattle in your ducts or a rise in your heating and cooling bills? If you do, give Belknap a ring with 0% financing. The cost of upgrading to a high-efficiency dual-fuel heating system is a breeze. Learn more at belknapheating.com. That's belknapheating.com. Go green, save energy and money with Belknap. Schedule a free estimate on your new installation. Give Belknap a ring at 688-1728. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. Poll up at Sneaky Joe Sports. What's the worst uniform in Buffalo sports history? And by more than double, the Sabres yellow turd burger jerseys are the runaway favorite here as the worst. Number 2, the Nickel City Alternates. I'm surprised by that. I thought the Bills drought uniforms would have been second. They're actually fourth.
Because
what are we doing?
Look like Bills jerseys.
Because they're
why.
having their Brussels sprouts moment.
They are.
No,
the
they're
balsamic
not.
skin.
No,
They're
they're
having
not.
they are balsamic glazed.
Those uniforms will never have that moment.
I don't know.
Never.
I think they might.
I would be stunned.
I think people our age are going to come around, and I'm not going to lie to you.
There's a soft spot for those.
good
good memories wearing those uniforms. It's all heartbreak.
That's the biggest hurdle they'll have to clear.
Yes.
Right. There was nothing good that ever happened.
But no bigger hurdle than Brussels sprouts had to.
The goat
That's
head,
right.
I'm sure. The goat head, it was
Centuries.
easy to get back to because you could go to 99 with Hasek, or you could go to 06 and all those moments. What did they do in this uniform that was memorable and good? There's bad memorable. What's their best moment in that jersey? Number 1. What's the number 1 moment in that jersey? It's got to be something. 2011, they weren't wearing it anymore when they beat New England in Week 3.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. They had just switched.
But what about the Lawyer Malloy pick 6?
Okay, 02. There we go. 2002, they beat New England 31-0.
Lawyer Malloy pick 6.
Okay, that's the day.
All right, there we go.
We got one.
Yep.
We got a single day. They beat Tom Brady for one of 2 times in their history.
The Peerless Price game in Houston.
Okay, the last play.
That was when everyone we thought J.P. Lossman was him.
Is that the same game where he threw 3 touchdowns to Lee Evans in the first period?
I believe so.
Quarter?
I believe it's the same one.
They were wearing white jersey, blue pants that day.
Yes, terrible,
brutal. No one has ever looked worse playing that well than Lee Evans, who had 200 yards in a quarter. Or something like that.
I'm sure there's a Sammy Morris game we're forgetting about.
There can't be a Sammy Morris game.
No.
Very, very quick hockey plug, by the way, because we're going to take a break and get back to football. Yesterday for Locked On Sabres, I did a big deep dive in Jack Quinn, and I thought at the end of it, I'm going to do this episode, and he's just going to get traded, right? Because is he the new most traded Buffalo athlete? It was AJ Epinesa. He was the previous king of this. Now I'm thinking Jack Quinn for the Sabres might be the guy who gets traded more than anybody. Everyone wants to trade Jack Quinn.
Yeah, it's him. Do we count Mertka?
Yeah, because he basically got traded.
It's Mertka.
It's Quinn and Mertka.
Yeah.
In a second.
I don't know if I've seen a deal all summer that hasn't included Mertka in it, which sucks because I like Mertka.
And then they drafted essentially a guy they could just replace him in the
organizational depth chart. He's not the same player. He's a different sort of archetype, but yes, in terms of that prospect, yeah.
I don't know if we're getting a contract this summer. I think we probably don't, but one thing I got into on Locked On Sabres about him very quickly is the 2 guys that are comparables to him this offseason, Cole Perfetti in Winnipeg and Connor McMichael in St. Louis, both signed for more than $6 million.
Yeah, 6.5 each, right?
Yep.
So if you want to sign him in a year when he's a free agent, he's going to cost more than $6 million a year. Do you want to pay Jack Quinn $6 million a year? You got a year to decide, I guess.
That's a little scary.
He could go out and have 70 points and then be like,
if he does, then you're not getting it for $6 million.
That's a good point. You're going to cost 9.
Right.
When we come back, Kevin Oestreicher, on the Baltimore Ravens, Week 5 opponent for the Bills on their schedule. That's next.
The Bills report to St. John Fisher today to begin training camp tomorrow. Coverage of training camp on WGR, presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm. 1-800-8-million. Looking around the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reported yesterday that Buccaneers tackle Vita Vea has requested a trade. The Vikings, they're signing linebacker Jamal Adams, and the Colts, they place wide receiver Alec Pierce following ankle surgery on the active and PUP list. In baseball, the Blue Jays beat the Nationals 3-2. The Yankees beat the White Sox 9-5. The Red Sox bested the A's 4-2, and the Mets, they beat the Braves 14-3. Don't miss the National Comedy Center's Comedy Festival featuring 50 live events, including comedian Bert Kreischer on August 8th at 7 p.m. live in Jamestown. Tickets at comedycenter.org. Tune in this week for your chance to win a pair of tickets to Bert Kreischer. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Way, how should I react to that? How should a person react to that?
First of all, you try to stay calm. That's what I'm doing now. I try to stay calm.
I'm doing my best.
All right. God bless those top 100 ratings. God bless them. They are manna from heaven to get us through the desert of the offseason, and we need it. I also think that they're like a high school election, and I've heard a million players who do them in the middle of the season. They're handing them after a practice. They scribble the names in. They roll their eyes, and they hand it back. I don't think there's a living person in the world, including every single Denver Bronco, who thinks Bo Nix is better than Lamar Jackson right now. And if they do, they're not watching the games. It's fine.
Kyle Brandt, the NFL Top 100 list, which has basically become this offseason the let's be mad at the quarterback that is ranked ahead of Lamar Jackson. It's totally taken over the list. That's probably right also.
Yeah,
like how
it's
much,
definitely right. But at
how
the
much
same
thought
time,
do all the players put into it? I guess
kind of made a really great point to never do this list again. I think we should just retire it. I think it's the worst thing of the offseason.
That is not going to happen because July is contentless, and this is how they get it. Where are we on the list, by the way?
I don't know.
I think we were at 50.
It's hard to keep track doing 2 a day.
That's the other thing.
I'm
the
exhausted.
Weekly drops was good.
I'm exhausted.
Exciting. Get ready for this. You know what? This is where we're doing this for content. Okay, what's today's content? Let's talk about Derwin James and Joe Thuney. I mean, they're great players. Just like, what am I supposed to do with that?
I don't know.
Good players. Caleb Williams was in at number 51. Lamar was in at number 69, which
Crazy.
I think everybody would admit is ridiculously low.
Yeah.
803-0550 is the phone number. Good morning. Training camp today for the Bills. They report today. Practice tomorrow. And that'll all be happening, of course, at St. John Fisher for a little over a week. Then they'll return to Orchard Park. First ever event at the brand new stadium, the Blue and Red scrimmage, which is not that far away. And then we're on to the preseason, and then we get to the games. Week 5 of the Bills' regular season will be a rematch with the Baltimore. Excuse me, not week 5, week 8. Fast forwarding a little bit. We had a couple of West Coast games in the middle there. Tough to guess for that. But Baltimore week 8, after the bye week. That's a 1 o'clock Sunday game at New Highmark Stadium. Kevin Oestreicher on the Western Hotline now from Locked On Ravens. Morning, Kevin. Are you good to take a break from the NFL Top 100 list for a couple minutes here?
It'd be my pleasure to do that because it has been exhausting with list season and all the different, national media narratives that have come out. But, we made it to training camp. It's exciting. And I think for, a lot of teams across the league, it's definitely been a long off season, certainly a lot of movement this off season across the league. But, I'm excited to see how things shake out this year.
Obviously, a lot to talk about, Kevin, with the Baltimore Ravens. The first thing I wanted to ask you, though, is how disappointed maybe you and a lot of other Ravens fans are that this is a Sunday 1 o'clock game, Bills versus Ravens this year, because it just felt like such cinema in week 1 last year. And for the league to just kind of throw this as a 1 o'clock game, it felt like a real big missed opportunity.
Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think that I wasn't necessarily expecting Baltimore to get the full slate and run out of primetime games because of how their year went last year. And, I would have assumed that the NFL would have picked this game as one of them. I still think Baltimore has good primetime games, but, this obviously Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. You got key additions on both sides of the ball for both teams. This is my AFC Championship game pick. Just to put that spoiler out there right now. So, I think that all that combined, and plus, yeah, you're right. Like they're now, there's enough now between these two teams over the last handful of seasons where it's just like the storylines have built themselves up over the last couple of years. I mean, there's just natural storylines throughout, and I think that, I don't really know the reason why they wouldn't put this game in prior, at least, like a 4:00 game or something. Like give the game a little bit of spotlight. But you know what? Maybe this will be one of the all-time classic 1:00 games. We can talk about it that way.
Yeah, I think maybe one reason, maybe this doesn't even enter into their calculus on it. But for me, when I think about these two teams, I think regular season doesn't even really mean a lot to them. Like what we all know how good Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are. Like the thing about both of them is these two dudes have not been to a Super Bowl yet. So, yeah, entertainment-wise, that matchup in Week 8, if they're both healthy, should be awesome. But the meaning of it, like if the AFC Championship happened the way you just said, like, and it's these two teams in the AFC Championship game, the theater that would be, because we know one of these dudes is finally breaking through, and now we're going to find out which one, versus, again, regular season, like, I feel like there's really nothing more either of these two have to prove.
Yeah, I guess, saving the magic, I guess, would be the way that would kind of go. So, yeah, I mean, it could definitely be. I don't really know what goes into their process. I mean, obviously, both Baltimore and Buffalo, I'm projecting out to be very good teams this year. And, they both have their fair share of primetime games. But, maybe the AFC Championship game will be the one if both teams make it there. That'll be the big primetime matchup, and then you can, have the storylines be that way.
So what is the conversation about Lamar Jackson right now for you? The health last year, there was a question of how healthy he was even when he played, and he, of course, missed a couple games as well. And then also there's the contract, right? And there's 2 years left on that deal. It doesn't even feel like it was that long ago that we were talking about his last contract dilemma where he ultimately signed. And already I know there's been a little bit of chatter about, how that's been going.
Yeah, I mean, I think the conversation in Baltimore right now around Lamar and in here around Lamar is, people are excited for him to get back and be healthy. I think that's the number one thing, where he just wasn't healthy for the majority of last season. I mean, that Buffalo game in Week 1 was one of the only times Lamar was healthy all year, and that was, an awesome game between Baltimore and Buffalo that Buffalo was able to squeak out there at the end. But, I think that for Lamar now, with the new offense, Declan Doyle coming in for Todd Monken with all the coaching changes that happened for Baltimore this offseason, he's expressed a lot of excitement there. And, people, I think, believe, and, I believe it as well, Lamar's going to be right back in that MVP conversation this season. Before he got injured, he was tops in the league in a lot of passing categories. And, injuries happen in this game. And Detroit Week 3, Lamar kind of said was where that all started, and, was kind of banged up since. So I think that now with the improvements, I think with the coaching staff, with the offensive line, which I think is a really big deal, that offensive line was not great for the Ravens last season in multiple different ways. I think people are expecting a pretty big bounce back from Lamar this season. And, yeah, especially with the contract situation being what it is. I mean, they ended up doing a restructure for Lamar this offseason where they had to make a decision on the money because his cap hit was right around $74.5 million. And so what they ended up doing was they ended up restructuring that to push the money down the line another year. So now his cap hit for next offseason is $84.5, right around $84.5 million. So, they're going to have to figure this out one way or the other. My take on the contract situation for Lamar is that, honestly, he just wants to wait because his year was not great last season. And, his value is not what peak Lamar Jackson value would be. Had he had, another MVP caliber season, maybe the Ravens, make a deep playoff run or get to or make the Super Bowl, maybe win the Super Bowl, who knows. I think that Lamar's value is not at Lamar Jackson's value right now where it could be, and I think he wants to kind of bet on himself in that regard. That's just my 2 cents on the opinion, or my 2 cents on the situation, but I think people are excited about Lamar this year right now.
Despite, Kevin, what the top 100 might say, I think you look at like kind of the big four of being, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and Joe Burrow. And of the big four, you could really make the argument that one of them is surrounded with enough talent that should elevate him and the team. And it hasn't in Cincinnati, right? And having Jamar Chase and T. Higgins has not elevated the Bengals into being a contender really since their, Super Bowl stint a couple of years ago. And they've really been MIA since. But I look at what the least of the three of the Bills, Ravens, and the Chiefs. The Bills this year decided they needed to make a move at wide receiver to solidify the group around Josh Allen. And you can say everybody can make arguments about what DJ Moore is or isn't at this point in his career at 29 years old. I was surprised to see the Chiefs not make a notable move to add around Patrick Mahomes, considering the age of Travis Kelce and, frankly, the unpredictability of Rashee Rice. I was also surprised to see the Ravens not really make a notable move at wide receiver or even tight end, knowing you guys are losing. I know Charlie Kohler's not really a household name as a pass catcher, but losing Isaiah Likely, who is their kind of pass catching tight end, and we know how much they've liked to use 3 tight ends in the past. Are you also surprised they didn't do a whole lot to surround Lamar Jackson with maybe a true number 1 pass catching weapon of sorts?
Yeah, I think that the approach was a little surprising to me, but when I kind of took a step back and looked at it, it did make sense as to what their reasoning was, and I think that all kind of solidified itself again when the Ravens ended up signing Chris Moore on Friday, and some reports came out from local reporters here in Baltimore that the Ravens were never really in on guys like Stephon Diggs, who obviously is a former Bill, and some of these other top wide receivers that are still out there, because they want to give their young guys a chance. And so that's kind of been what they've been especially since the draft, where they took 2 wide receivers back to back in the 3rd and 4th rounds, and Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt. I kind of thought they were going to sign a veteran and draft somebody. So you still have a veteran presence in your locker room, a veteran receiver that's been there, done that, but also you still have a really talented young player. But, they're going to be relying on a lot of youth this year, which is a risk. I mean, it certainly is. I'm not going to shy away from that. I mean, you mentioned, especially with the pass catcher room in general, Likely and Kohler, as you mentioned, are gone. You added in Matt Hibner and Josh Cuevas as your 2 rookie tight ends. No DeAndre Hopkins anymore in Baltimore. You add in Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt. Now, they're going to want to see who Tez Walker is this year, and they're going to want to give Rashad Bateman a bigger and hopefully better opportunity. Chicago's offense with Declan Doyle, and I know it was Ben Johnson calling the plays, but, multiple Bears players and coaches have said how instrumental Doyle's been. There's going to be a lot of hopefully just spreading the ball around a little bit more, getting guys more opportunities. But, your leader in terms of wide receiver experience is Rashad Bateman now, who's entering his 6th season. The running joke for, people in the wide receiver room in Baltimore is, they're going to sign a guy who's 39 years old every year, and that's kind of the joke. We can go on and on. I could be here with you for another 30 minutes going through all the veteran wide receivers the Ravens have signed over the years. And so I think this year is just kind of what? We're not going to do that. We're going to see who we have, I think, is what their mindset is. Because I think if they were to sign a veteran, if it was Diggs, for example, he'd eat directly into Rashad Bateman's snaps and Tez Walker's snaps. And, regardless of whether I think that's good or not or anybody else, I don't think they want that. They want to give Bateman and Tez Walker these snaps next to Zay Flowers to see who they have, which is a risk, like I mentioned, but, feels like that's the route they're going, and it could pay off if everything goes well.
That's funny that you mentioned the old receiver thing, because that has been a Baltimore thing, right? Des Bryant is the first name that comes to mind for me. He was there. Yeah. And I feel like Harbaugh took that with him to New York, because if you look at the Giants' depth chart at receiver, this offseason they've added Odell Beckham, Juju Smith-Schuster, Darnell Mooney, Braxton Berrios. It's a bunch of guys that were good 5 years ago. And maybe it was maybe a Harbaugh thing that they would just always bring in old receivers because it seems like too big of a coincidence once he left and they did the same thing.
Yeah. It's funny because, and they obviously have Odell back there now, who obviously, he spent time with Harbaugh in Baltimore. But I think it's so interesting because especially with like new coaching staffs, and I know, Baltimore brought in someone from the outside and Buffalo promoted Joe Brady from the inside. But, even still, it's been kind of fun here in Baltimore, and I'm sure it's been the same way in Buffalo to kind of see, this guy has this certain twist on something that the organization did in the past, or, they're adding in all these new things. And, yeah, I mean, it's certainly, the proof's in the pudding. John Harbaugh signing all those veteran receivers does make it seem like that's kind of his thing and not the organization's thing.
The change from Harbaugh to Jesse Minter, what is something you feel like you've learned about Minter since he's been hired by Baltimore that – he was with the Chargers for a couple of years before that and had a very good reputation as a defensive mind. I guess, is there a hope that he's going to turn Baltimore's defense, plus with the Trey Hendrickson signing, into, not that they weren't good already, but like one of the best defenses in football? Do you think they're capable of being that right away?
Yeah, I think they are. I think the talent level that Minter had in Los Angeles, no disrespect to the Chargers. They were, and not that this indicates how good or bad your talent is, but the Chargers were towards the bottom or at the bottom of defensive spending when Minter was there pretty much. And, the Ravens right now have the second highest paid defense in the league behind Pittsburgh. And again, you can overpay a bunch of guys and your defense can't be good, but Baltimore it's not that way. They have talent on all three levels. And I just think that with Zach Orr, he wasn't putting guys in positions to be successful. With Minter, he was taking guys, mid-round rookies. Literally, Tony Jefferson was in the Ravens scouting department. He went to LA with Minter and rejuvenated his career. He has done a lot of really cool things with players that are maybe looking to, add a handful of years onto their career, or, Derwin James, there were interesting conversations about him before Minter got there. And, he obviously is one of the best safeties in the league. But, you have the Hamilton, he has his Derwin James here in Baltimore and Kyle Hamilton and a lot of other really cool skill position players, defensive skill position players that can do a really good job. And just, it's funny because Minter's not that aggressive in terms of his play style or play call style, where the Chargers ranked towards the bottom in blitz percentage, but they were up towards the middle of the pack and sometimes even better than that in his 2 years in pressure rate and some of these other stats, because he's just so creative with what he does from simulated pressures. He'll drop a defensive lineman into coverage, and sometimes those D linemen will get interceptions, but he's so creative with what he does. And I think that you can really tell that he cares about the players and he wants to build relationships with these guys. And you can tell the players really appreciate that and are buying into what he and Declan Doyle and the rest of this coaching staff are trying to put forth to them as the plan. It feels like there's a lot of excitement in the building right now. Breath of fresh air is what Lamar Jackson called it. He's excited about it. A lot of people are excited about Minter coming in and the connection that he's building. That's been a huge emphasis for him in his press conferences and what he's kind of talked to the media about. So, I think that defensively, he's a genius. He does so many good things, but there's a lot more to, he's not just the defensive play calling anymore. He's a head coach, and there's so much more that goes into that now in terms of building those relationships up. Especially, he was in Baltimore for a little bit, but when he's coming back to the organization and kind of starting those relationships up again, I think it's really cool.
Kevin Oestreicher with us from Locked On Ravens. On the division and the schedule, so the Ravens, I'm looking at, have the 6th easiest schedule in the league. The Bengals have the 3rd easiest. So it looks like the AFC North has that advantage this go-around. Is it feel like a 2-horse race for the division this year, or do you believe Pittsburgh will still annoyingly be, 9-8 in the mix?
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh will still be there, but I do think I'd say yes to both. I think it is still a 2-horse race, but I think Pittsburgh is not going to necessarily go away. I think that, when realistically you look at the situation in the division, assuming that everybody's healthy and you can kind of, assess that way, I've been giving Cincy, a lot of grief for years about not improving their defense, and they did that. I mean, they invested in their defense, and I give them credit for doing so. They're one of the only teams in the league, and Buffalo's another one. But since he's one of the only teams in the league that can keep up with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, it's like it's the Big Four, and Lamar's in the Big Four, so really the big three of opponents for Lamar Jackson and quarterback wise. So that's Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes, and then some other teams are also in that conversation. But like Cincinnati, if you ask me, like, hey, if the Ravens go up 17-3 at halftime against the Steelers, do you trust the 50 billion-year-old Aaron Rodgers in that offense to come back? I mean, I'd be hard pressed, especially with the defense that I think the Ravens will be able to field this season. And I don't know. I mean, Mike Tomlin's gone. I don't know if the Tomlin magic goes with him, like we kind of talked about with Harbaugh and the veteran receivers, or if that's more Steelers magic, where they'll be able to just kind of, with McCarthy, throw together another 9-8 or 10-7 season or whatever it may be. It's crazy because I liked some of the moves. I actually liked a lot of the moves Pittsburgh made this offseason, but bringing back Aaron Rodgers, I just did not like it all. I thought they should have brought in Kyler Murray, but it is what it is there. I think that Baltimore and Cincinnati are the two teams that are in focus right now for me for the AFC North crown because while I do think that Baltimore's defense will be better than Cincinnati's this year, I still think Cincinnati does have some pretty glaring holes defensively despite improving it so much. I mean, those games could be 55-54 and, it make great football. So I think those two are the ones I'm looking at.
Last thing for you. Is there any sign at all that Derrick Henry is slowing down? I'm looking right now. Last 20 years, there have only been 3 running backs at 32 or older to get 1,000 yards, and that feels like an easy bet for Henry. I almost want to ask more. It would less be like, oh, could this be the year where it falls off the cliff, and more just how many years does it feel like he could really go? I mean, nobody does it at 33, 34, 35 in today's NFL. But I don't know, it doesn't feel like he's looking any less efficient than he has been even in his prime.
Yeah, if there was a guy, I mean, it'd be him. I mean, he's incredible, and really, he doesn't even miss games either. I mean, that's the crazy part about it. I think he had like one season in Tennessee where he missed a handful, but I mean, he's so durable, and you're right. I mean, he's not slow. It feels like he's speeding up. He's not slowing down with what he's been able to do, and him and Lamar Jackson are such a dynamic duo together on that offense. And, part of it is he just takes such good care of his body. I mean, he invests so much money in his body on a yearly basis, and the crazy workout videos I'm sure you've seen. Like, he does not mess around when it comes to making sure that he is in the best shape that he can be in and his body's in the best shape that they can be in for, the season. So, I mean, he hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. Usually there's some sign of like, oh, he's starting to miss games, or he's starting the yards per carry starting to go down, or any of that. And there are certain things that happened last season that I attribute more to the offensive line than I do to Derrick Henry. I mean, you improve the O-line like they did this offseason, with bringing in Vengi, Iwani, and John Simpson at the guard spots. Yes, you lose Tyler Linderbaum, but you do bring in Ethan Posick, who I think when healthy is not Tyler Linderbaum, but, can be solid, which I think is, all that you can ask for at this point. So I think with the offensive line being the way that it is now for Derrick Henry and even for Lamar, it's going to help them out even further. So Henry's such a big part of what they do. And, I wouldn't be shocked if they maybe scale back a little bit with him, but I mean, he's going to be your bell cow running back. And there aren't a lot, in today's NFL. I mean, you have a lot of platoons and rotations and whatnot, but Derrick Henry is truly one of those bell cow running backs that, and I think he will be till he retires, and who knows when that will be. I think he will end his career in Baltimore, which would be cool. But I mean, Henry's one of those guys that he defies all football logic. It's crazy.
I mean, I hope that there's a committee at some point, because I did draft Adam Randall in a rookie dynasty draft, but that was late. Yeah. Late stash. Thanks, Kevin, for joining, and we'll talk again maybe closer to the Bills-Ravens matchup.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Appreciate you having me.
Kevin Oestreicher from the Locked On Ravens podcast. Last year, rushing yards above expectation. Number 1 in the NFL, James Cook. Number 2 in the NFL, Derrick Henry. Really quick, how long did it take before people took the idea seriously that Alex Ovechkin could break the goal record? It was a while.
Yeah.
Before people thought he could actually do it.
Yeah.
And some were really late to that party.
I remember Friedman asked him, I don't know when this was, but it was years ago, and he said, "No way, I'm doing that."
Right.
And so I think for a long time it was not even talked about. I think maybe I would say 3 years before he did it, people's probably started going like, "Hey, he could maybe do this thing," and then it was like all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, he's gonna do it."
Right.
He needs like one more year, and he's gonna do it. And so. Are you thinking Henry there?
There are only 2 active running backs in the NFL that are inside the top 50 all-time in rushing yards. That's it. It's just a different league. Like, guys don't play long enough, and it's a committee approach. So the rushing yards record might feel unbreakable. Like, Christian McCaffrey is 63rd all-time. Like, he's
crazy.
Nowhere near it.
Yeah.
Barkley is the second active leader. He's 44th all-time. Like, he's behind Willis McGahee.
It's just such a different era. It just truly is.
Henry is 10th.
Oh.
He is 5,337 yards away from the all-time rushing record. Is it impossible?
I think I am reacting to this the same way I would have reacted if you asked me 5 years before Ovi did it, if I thought that was real, and I would have laughed at you.
Yep.
I don't think so, but And Nate, you just said it's a different era. So's the NHL. Look at the goalies Gretzky scoring on.
No doubt.
How
It's
many
crazy.
years do you want to give him if you're being really generous? How many years?
Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
How many yards off is he?
5,300. He's 32.
He's 32. You need like
Six.
6 more years.
6 years?
Because you
6
know
years,
the end
definitely.
is going to be like 400, 600 yards.
Right.
That'd be averaging less than 900 yards a season. He had 1,500 last year.
Okay, let's say he has 1,500 again this year.
Then he would be less than
3,500?
He'd be 3,800 away.
That's still
At
so
33.
far.
So many
That's
yards.
You got to think production's going to decline at some point
I
as
think
he gets
it
older.
has to.
Like,
I think he probably needs 1,500 in each of the next 2 seasons.
Right.
And then you're talking, I'm 34 years old and I'm only 2,300 yards away. You could hang around for a little bit, couple of seasons at the end where you get like 300-400 yards. I kind of think this is possible. He's got to have 2 big years though still. Or listen, if their offense is good again because Lamar's healthy, what did he have in his first year in Baltimore? 1,900 yards.
I mean, yeah, he could just blow it out of the park.
If you have healthy Lamar and the offense is cooking again and he gets 1,900 yards, now I think it's really looking like this is a chase.
Yeah. Well, that's scary for the AFC if that happens because, I mean.
Well, yeah, I'm not rooting for that.
For sure.
Him getting 19, that probably means they're a juggernaut. And I'll say this, I think he's probably the last running back that will ever have a look at it.
That probably is almost certainly.
No one else will ever have a chance at it. If you're Emmitt Smith, if you get through Derrick Henry, that record is yours for
I just
forever.
don't think there's ever going to be a running back with the type of longevity you're seeing with. He's the last of a dying breed.
Correct.
Because I also don't think people are really a running back, an athlete the size of Derrick Henry doesn't play running back anymore.
No, I mean, even
they
before-
rarely ever did.
I was going to say, before
Trent
him.
Richardson. Like,
I
there
was
are
going to
a
say
couple
Otis Anderson. Like, there's a couple guys ever that were his size.
Toby
that
Gerhart.
played.
Put some friggin' respect on Toby's name, bro.
Toby Gerhart. How big was he even?
Peyton Hillis, brother.
I want to look up. Was Otis Anderson even that big, or was he just big relative to
That is a
6
made.
foot?
By the way, that's a made-up name, Otis Anderson. You just made
Not
that
a
name
made-up
up.
name. Know
You
your,
just made that
your
name
history,
up.
bro.
You just made that up.
6'3",
Anderson.
220. I mean, he wasn't like an all-time great. He was maybe,
Jamal
maybe
Lewis. Jamal Lewis is the other big.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. What about Earl Campbell also gets compared
But
a
it's
lot,
just
right?
the longevity is to me.
Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell's so much smaller. Earl Campbell is held up as like, oh, he was a monster. He's 5'11", 230, Hall of Famer. Right. Henry is 6'3", 252. That guy does not ever play running back, which
No.
is maybe why we have to treat him differently.
He plays
Like,
defensive end.
He might. What happens to running backs? Why don't they play past 30? Why aren't they good past 30? Their bodies break down. His body's twice the size of the other ones.
Which would, from experience, I will tell you, would make you think it will break down faster.
Faster, you would.
But it does.
And
It's like more. It's like more armor, though.
He's
In
still
some ways,
so
isn't it?
fast. Like he still has so much breakaway
Well,
speed.
right. That's the thing. Is that's going to need to hold up for him to break the record. He could be big in 4 years, but you got to be able to run. Because if you even need like 400 or 500 yards to break the record, what team's going to want to put you on the field if you're running like a 5.3 40 at the end of your career?
Can I also
Nobody's
have a
gonna wanna
take
do
here? Is that I don't think the career he's had in Baltimore, like towards the end of his career, looks anything like it does if Lamar Jackson's not his quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
If he's still in Tennessee, if he's in Green Bay, if he's in Tampa, he's not running for 1,500 yards right now. And that's the biggest thing when Kevin talked about this change in the offense. Part of the reason he's been so good and that run game's been so good is they run a unique rushing offense. They had anyways, where it was almost like the pistol and there was some read option, and they're like, if they're not running that anymore, if he's lining up under center, if he's lining up in shotgun next to Lamar, is it going to be the same?
No, it probably. I mean, he would need to get to a very good landing spot.
Missed opportunity with no Susudio here. Missed opportunity.
Maybe never a missed
Still
opportunity.
time. Still time.
Missed opportunity.
If he has 1,500 yards this year, by the way, he'll pass Eric Dickerson, Jerome Bettis, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Curtis Martin for 6th all time.
Jerome Bettis.
803-0550 is the phone number. Got a thought on the Bills' uniforms from yesterday? What do you like more, the helmet or the jersey? I thought we were all in agreement the helmet was better than the jersey, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some like it the other way. Time out here. Training camp starts today for the Bills. They're reporting to St. John Fisher. Taking your calls here. The reason I wanted to get into it on him isn't just because, Bills, they should be in on every star player that is mentioned or that is named as someone that could be dealt. But I don't know if you were on Twitter last night when he asked for the trade, but a parade of analysts, Steve Palazzolo was the first one I saw, and there were many others, that were lining up to be like, this is the perfect person to put in the Bills' defense.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's because you're getting a nose tackle that can also rush the passer, right? Big guy that's going to eat up blocks, and many of those guys don't also present a threat to get to the quarterback. And the Bills never really, let's look back on their offseason. All the things that they did they ever really do anything at nose tackle?
No.
Like they just said, what, that Deion Walker was kind of going to transition to being that, and that Dwayne Carter was going to transition to being that. I guess I love the player. It's hard not to love the player. He's a great player. Does it feel too late for the Bills to make a move of this magnitude?
Like in the season? Like
camp starts tomorrow.
No, I don't think it's too
They
late.
don't have a lot of cap space. I'll pull up the exact number that they have. You don't think it's too late? They could do this move today if they thought that it made sense?
I think the Bills traded Sammy Watkins on August 11th. Anything can happen.
After a preseason game.
Yes, anything
Right.
can happen. So I would say absolutely not too late. I think I kind of agree with I would say a large majority of NFL Twitter that it makes the most sense of any team because of the fit and the need. They're transitioning to a 3-4. He is the 3-4 nose tackle. I mean,
It's him and Dexter Lawrence.
when you
right?
think of true nose tackles, Vita Vea is like him and Tony Saragusa, like are your two. I mean, just perfect aesthetic body type. Mean streak. But I think the only thing that I would think of is 31 at this point. Like, what's that contract look like? The Bills, they still have the Deion Dawkins lever they have not pulled.
Right. Which I think they, in this case, like
that's what they would.
If
have
they
to
wanted to do this, they would, I think, have to do that.
They would have to do it. And the thing is, too, is I don't know how much it would cost. I don't think it costs a first-round pick at this point in the game. He wants out.
Right.
What are you trading, a second-round pick?
For a 31-year-old that's on the final year of his contract at a position that is not really a premium position?
No. And
I don't think it should cost a first-round pick.
What do you
Sneaky Joe DiBiase here.
M&M's are 10 times better in the fridge or in the freezer. Do I trust space pictures? Is this a real camera? There is another.
Who are you, Yoda?
I don't even mind anything else other than just the bump that's playing. It's so bad. It's so bad.
You weren't kidding. You had so much time.
Plenty of time.
Who had time?
He did.
He had time?
Yeah.
Oh.
When I dropped it last time, he's like, "Don't worry,
Right.
Nate. I've got time."
You know, in the year of curses breaking, the Knicks won.
Yes.
The Arsenal won. Have you seen the clips of Mayo winning the Irish football,
Gaelic football
championship?
I did see Mayo.
They won their first title in 75 years. That's not even, to me, the most impressive stat. So, full stadium in Dublin. It looked awesome.
It did look awesome.
Announcers are crying at the end of it. The fans are crying. The players are crying. It wasn't just that they went 75 years. The curse, by the way, I guess, is they made a priest upset when they won in 1951, and he put a curse on them. So they win for 75 years. That's not the incredible part. It's that they had made the final 11 times and lost all of them. That is more impressive to me. You made the championship 11 times and went 0 for 11?
Would they be like a dynasty of their conference at that point?
I don't know if they have conferences.
No.
Does the rest of the world have conferences? I don't know if they actually
They've got to
do.
have divisions or
There's
something, right?
conferences. There's got to be conferences.
I don't know other countries.
Legions,
They don't waste their time with divisions. 4-team divisions. Premier League doesn't have divisions.
How many teams are in this league?
I have no idea. There
It
can't
would be tough if there were like 5 teams, and this team's been trying to win it for 75 years.
That's a horrific look.
Yeah. There are 6 teams.
Oh man.
Wait, really?
No, wait, this can't be right.
Maybe 6 teams in a division or a conference or something.
If there are 6 teams and this team has been trying to do this for 75 years and they didn't do it, that's incredible.
I don't even know how to find where their standings would be. I pulled up a standings page that looked official, and there were only 6 teams listed.
No way.
Oh man, those 11 years.
I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Right now.
It's going to hurt my brain to figure out how it works. They're not on
Conferences
here.
are an American culture.
I think that's
it's American culture to have conferences.
I'm looking at a table with only 6 teams on it here too.
Yes.
But they're not on it.
Oh, well,
the team that won it, which is why I feel like I'm in the wrong place.
Might be in a different league.
But they won the league.
Right, but there might be 2 leagues, like how there used to be the AFL and NFL.
Well, at that point, it's conferences then.
Right.
If they're
So we're
playing
right
in
back to where we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
If
right back to American culture.
Right. What is the worst uniform in Buffalo sports history? Everyone is saying that it's the Turdberger jersey.
I would agree.
I think the other thing that might stink about the Bills Nickel City alternates is this will be their alternate, and they probably won't have another one for a long time.
So this means the red jerseys are kaput because those were the alternates?
I don't think that means this. They can wear as many uniforms, I believe, as they want. It's the helmet stipulation, and they wear the red jersey with the white helmet.
White helmet, yeah.
What I do like, though, is that on Madden, you will have many options when you play as the Bills.
You will.
You will have a lot of options.
I'm excited to see what people combine with the blue helmet.
Oh, my God.
Because that's what's going to happen. You're going to start getting all the combinations.
You're right.
What could look like with the blue helmet.
Is that just going to make people more upset about the whole thing?
I think it will.
Blue helmet with different jersey combinations?
With the red.
Yeah.
With the
No.
all
Okay.
red.
Maybe
Blue with the all red.
Maybe that one. There are better uniform combinations out there with that helmet. Give me that helmet with white on white.
That gray uniform is probably not going to get played at all.
Blue,
on
white,
that game.
white.
No, the gray uniform will never be used.
It'll be the parts of it used with other things.
Blue, white, white.
Yeah.
I like that. I saw someone
I think I might like that.
change that to that yesterday.
I need to
But
see
it
it.
can't be blue, blue, blue.
No.
That would be bad.
Why not? Then they look like
That'd
the
be bad.
Bison. They look like the charging Bison.
No, they
All
wouldn't.
blue.
No, they wouldn't.
All blue.
No, they wouldn't look like that. No, they would.
Yeah.
They would look
with a big red stripe down the side. That's all you got to do, and then they're just the logo.
Where are they going to wear these is a good... I mean, last year they wore the Rivalry Series uniforms for the first time in a big game. It was a night game against New England that they wore it. And they're probably going to want to put these in a prime time spot, right?
You would think.
I am just really, really hoping that they're not in one game in particular. Don't open the new stadium in those uniforms.
Especially
would be my
against a team that basically has the same jersey. I know they wouldn't, obviously. Could you imagine gray on gray?
Oh, it's not. Don't make
the concrete ball.
Hey, the Lions accidentally brought their gray jersey,
Right,
so
and
they
they
have to wear.
they can't get the other ones here in time.
Their helmet's also blue, by the way. The numbers are white. Is the difference there? I just don't want. I would prefer to not see them in the opener. But they're probably getting a prime spot. Are they going to... See, that's the thing, though. Are they going to be a primetime game? The Bills only have a couple of night games. They play the Lions in the first ever game at the stadium on Thursday Night Football.
I don't think you can wear those at night.
The next night game is the Chiefs on Thanksgiving night.
I don't think you can wear those at night.
Are they going to wear those against the Chiefs? Why can't they wear them at night?
I could.
They
see
have to
it.
be a 1 p.m. game.
It's a lot brighter at this new stadium than it's been at the old stadium.
Christmas, holidays. I could see them. They want to pump this thing on a national
Christmas?
audience.
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to wait that long, though.
They could wear. They
and
could
also,
wear,
Christmas is on the road.
You can wear it on the road. It's an alternate.
They could.
They could wear it anywhere.
And if they wear it twice, maybe you get one home, one away.
Yeah.
Oh, if they
I would
wear it
rather
twice.
them wear it on the road. They're probably going
They
to.
are.
Yeah,
I know. I just
they're
don't want to
probably
think
They
about
are
it.
wearing it twice.
They are wearing it twice.
They're wearing it twice.
Okay,
Yeah,
well-
tough scenes. Tough scenes.
Matt and Tonawanda's got a uniform
terrible.
thought. What's up, Matt?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Fine.
So we can only use those alternate jerseys at home. We can't do them on the road.
Why not?
I don't know. It's an NFL rule. I looked it up yesterday.
Are you sure? The Bills wore their Standing Buffalo throwbacks in Atlanta last year.
Oh, they did? I thought
They did.
maybe that only applies to the Nickel City uniforms. I'm not sure, but I think they get maybe four times throughout the season to use different uniforms. But I think they're going to use the Nickel City twice, and they're both going to be at home, obviously. But I think you guys are right. I don't think that Color Rush uniform is going to be used at all this year.
Yeah.
They're going to do the rivalry jerseys like they did last year against, a division rival.
Yeah, thanks, Matt, for the call. I mean, I'm not sure that they will wear that jersey twice at home. It might be once at home and once on the road.
Because aren't they going to wear that rivalry jersey again?
They're going to wear the rivalry series jersey again. That's going to be at home.
We're not getting red helmets ever again, are we?
We are getting. Jeremy tweeted yesterday we're getting red helmets.
Yeah, you can still wear
There's
the
only
reds.
so many games, guys.
There'll be one game with.
They'll stick
Let's
it at the
parse
end of the
this out.
season again.
We're going to get at least one rivalry series game.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get 2 games with the Nickel City. We are going to get 1 at least with the red helmet. That's only 4 out of 17 games. One of those could be on the road.
They're going to do a Standing Buffalo probably, right?
That still leaves you 5 home games.
At least one standing. Well, I don't think you can do Standing Buffalo. Well, yeah,
Yes,
you
you
can
can.
because it's a white helmet.
You can.
Yeah, decal.
You can.
Yeah, they have room. I mean, you might not like it because
It might just be a lot of switching
lot.
around what they're
It's a lot.
wearing.
yeah, you're becoming Oregon slowly but surely here.
Is this not exactly what the NFL wants, though? Because you're going to see all these jerseys and be
listen,
like, I want that.
I do not mind wearing different uniforms
I
all
also
the time.
agree with that.
I just don't like the uniform.
Yeah.
But I don't need to be, I wear 2 things all the time and that's it. That's what Kansas City does. Kansas City, it would be an alternative. Like, they do not wear alternate uniforms. They're just flatly against it. Their ownership does not want it. They will never do it as long as he's the owner of that team. I'd rather have my team try things. I just, they're going to be misses.
Try better things.
They're going to be misses once in a while.
We're allowed to ask for more.
This
Yeah,
is
we
the
can.
first Bills miss, though, too. So it's not a long track record.
In
Since
fairness,
the drought
do you know how
jerseys.
hard it is to miss
Oh,
with
yeah,
those
that's
jerseys?
very true.
With their color
Football-
combinations?
Red, white, and blue.
Football uniforms are harder to miss with.
Yeah.
Because you're
Right.
you're not doing as much as you're doing with hockey.
They're very
Right?
bland. There's
Like
not
the
a lot
league,
to
the
it.
league had peaked when they decided they were going to put the 2 colors that colorblind people can't differentiate on TV when it was Jets Bills Christmas tree colors.
Yeah, that was good.
That peaked.
Yeah.
They peaked.
I liked that. I liked that jersey combo.
Oh my God, Joe, that was terrible. What do you mean?
It was Christmas, wasn't it?
I mean, people who
Wait,
are
was it
colorblind
not
got a
Christmas
sneak
and I
peek
just
of these
remember it as
jerseys.
Christmas because
I
everyone
don't
said
think
it was Christmas?
Christmas.
Okay, then I don't like it.
It was
I thought I
terrible.
remembered it being Christmas.
It was terrible.
Pretty terrible, yeah.
Okay.
It was red and green. It was gross.
It was gross.
All right, give me red against who wears blue?
White,
Who wears
which
blue?
is what it should be.
The
It should just be
I like
not
color
another.
I like color versus color happens in other sports all the time. UCLA, USC does it.
The hockey game.
Well, sure. Those are very dramatic contrasts.
Okay, so give me red versus blue. Who wears blue?
Chargers, all
Lions. All right, so let me give me all red against the Lions blue. That's a good battle.
I could do that.
I'll only wear the red I'll only do that when the other team's wearing blue.
The
I'll make a
Rams
rule.
all yellow will be a good one to match up against now. Those bright ones.
Red versus yellow. Yeah, I would do that too.
Little
Yeah, it's like your
Chiefsy, though.
Well, I mean,
The whole
a little
game feels
Chiefsy. A little Chiefsy.
Yeah.
A little too Chiefsy
I don't
for
know if I
my.
like that,
Yeah.
When do the next series of rivalry series uniforms come out? By the way,
Bills?
because there's who's wearing them?
They came out like late August last year. If I'm
Late
not mistaken.
August, but the Vikings are wearing rivalry series or introducing rivalry series. That must be the NFC North. AFC South and NFC North are the 2 divisions that we're going to see introduce it this year. It's 2 divisions every year. Extendo Sports when we come back here on WGR. The reason I wanted to get into it on him isn't just because, Bills, they should be in on every star player that is mentioned or that is named as someone that could be dealt. But I don't know if you were on Twitter last night when he asked for the trade, but a parade of analysts, Steve Palazzolo was the first one I saw, and there were many others, that were lining up to be like, this is the perfect person to put in the Bills defense.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's because you're getting a nose tackle that can also rush the passer, right? Big guy that's going to eat up blocks, and many of those guys don't also present a threat to get to the quarterback. And the Bills never really, let's look back on their offseason. All the things that they did they ever really do anything at nose tackle?
No.
Like they just said, the Deion Walker was kind of going to transition to being that, and that Dwayne Carter was going to transition to being that. I guess I love the player. It's hard not to love the player. He's a great player. Does it feel too late for the Bills to make a move of this magnitude?
Like in the season? Like
camp starts tomorrow.
No, I don't think it's too late.
Don't have a lot of cap space. I'll pull up the exact number that they have. You don't think it's too late? They could do this move today if they thought that it made sense?
I think the Bills traded Sammy Watkins on August 11th. Anything can happen.
After a preseason game.
Yes, anything can happen. So I would say absolutely not too late. I think I kind of agree with I would say a large majority of NFL Twitter that it makes the most sense of any team because of the fit and the need. They're transitioning to a 3-4. He is the 3-4 nose tackle. I mean,
it's him and Dexter Lawrence.
When you think of true nose tackles, Vita Vea is like him and Tony Saragusa, like are your two. I mean, just perfect aesthetic body type. Mean streak, but. I think the only thing that I would think of is 31 at this point. Like, what's that contract look like? The Bills, they still have the Deion Dawkins lever they have not pulled.
Right. Which I think they, in this case, like
that's what they would.
If they wanted to do this, they would, I think, have to do that.
They would have to do it. And the thing is, too, I don't know how much it would cost. I don't think it costs a first-round pick at this point in the game. He wants out.
Right.
What are you trading, a second-round pick?
For a 31-year-old that's on the final year of his contract at a position that is not really a premium position.
No. And
I don't think it should cost a first-round pick.
What do you
Caller 5 right now at 716-2214-WGR wins a pair of tickets to see Bert Kreischer on Saturday, August 8th. Don't miss the National Comedy Center's Comedy Festival featuring 50 live events, including comedian Bert Kreischer on August 8th, live in Jamestown. Tickets at comedycenter.org. We were talking about uniforms last segment, and there was that Jets-Bills game that came up, green versus red. Yeah, it was not Christmas. I must have just remembered it as Christmas because of the colors. It was just a Thursday night game. That also was the game that Rex Ryan flipped out at the end of the game because they won.
Yeah, that's right.
He, threw his headset.
Yeah.
He was, beating his chest like he was.
Yeah, full just Rex Ryan mode.
Fired up. The Bills are only going to wear their standard uniforms 4 times at home maybe this year.
Yeah.
Red helmet game, maybe 2 Nickel City, maybe 1, because 1 could be on the road. You're going to get rivalry series, and then the rest should be standard. All right. Players report today. Camp tomorrow on the field. Sal will be along tomorrow for the majority of the show. Press conferences tomorrow as well. First day at St. John Fisher for everybody else is tomorrow. We'll talk to you then here on WGR.